national championship.
Length of the floor, layup doesn't go, ball knocked around, flung down the floor, Caravan trying to track it down, and he will. And it's over! Hail to the champions! Hail to Michigan! For the first time in 37 years, the Wolverines win the national title. An unstoppable force in this tournament. 69-63, the final.
All right, folks, welcome to Sports Talk with Chris Heidel here on a beautiful April evening. The NCAA tournament's over, and it's all Big Ten this year because UCLA and Michigan and Indiana has swept the men's football championship, the men's basketball, and the women's championship as well. So that's going to be a sweep. And everybody thinks, Adam, they think the SEC is always good.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Say this now. Don't be surprised if the Big Ten has a College World Series title to that list, because the number one team in the country right now is out of the Big Ten, and they're on like a 24-game winning streak, and that's the UCLA Bruins. So,
wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so
nice. All right, let's
go
get on.
from the SEC dominance now to the Big Ten.
Yes, well, we're going to be talking some Major League Baseball and some Diamondback baseball with our next guest. Right now, in the middle of the bottom of the 10th inning at Citi Field, we're all knotted up at 3 between the Diamondbacks and the New York Mets. I was watching that game all the way up to the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Mets
And I know what the D-backs did this past weekend. They took us. They took a series from my Atlanta Braves. So
yeah.
Let's talk some Arizona Diamondbacks baseball. Let's bring in Michael McDermott.
Let's bring him in. Hi, Michael. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. And by the way, Adam, that was a 4-game series, so it's actually a series split. So the Braves have not lost the series yet this year.
Okay,
Almost.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so Michael, thank you so much. I know you for a couple of years you covered the D-backs, with your because I've been watching you on Substack. What do you think about today's game against the Mets and the D-backs? It's cold, very cold there in Citi Field, so they had to move it up to like 4:00 Eastern time because of the 30-degree weather. I guess we don't play 30-degree weather on the East Coast or anything if we don't have a dome. So, what's your take on that game right now?
Well, it seems like Zach Gallen and Freddie Peralta seem to match up against each other at least once a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you had the wild card game in 23. They matched up against each other last year. The Diamondbacks have been ultimately successful in the previous 2 matchups, but obviously April games up north, you're probably going to get a lot of low-scoring games and a lot of, I guess you could say the velocity is going to be down because it's cold.
Yeah. So here's the so you covered Major League Baseball now. After the first week of baseball, what is your surprises? Because I'm here in Baltimore, they're off to a slow start after they beat the White Sox today, but still, you got Pete Alonso, that big contract they signed him from the Mets, my team, to Baltimore, and he's doing what Pete Alonso does, struggle in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I was going to say past behavior sometimes can be indicative of future behavior, but it's one of those things. I think you look at Alonso has a strong track record of doing what he does. So I think at the end of the year, you're going to look up and he's going to hit 250 with 35 home runs, 100 RBIs at the end of the season. Of course, that's one. Obviously, the Orioles paid him a lot of money to drive in a lot of runs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think how Henderson and Rutschman are going to look is going to also determine where their offense is going to go as well.
Right. Yeah. Adam, do you have a question for
Yeah.
us?
So, speaking of the Atlanta Braves, they got a catcher named Drake Baldwin. Last year was the NL Rookie of the Year, and he ain't no sophomore slump. You've seen what he's done, since the start of the season. So, what's your take on, since the sensational catcher that the Braves have?
Yeah, I think Drake Baldwin actually. I think if you talk about who are the top catchers in the National League, Will Smith obviously is number one on that list, and there's more of a debate for number two. I think Baldwin could certainly be on that list for the number two catcher, along with William Contreras of the Brewers.
Yes. Yeah,
we just got
this weekend.
Yeah, we just got an update from Citi Field. The Mets walked it off. So that was a heck of a ball game there, Michael. So I guess everybody in the regular season, first couple of weeks, you don't see anything good until probably May or June. But everybody's like, "Oh my God, they can't score runs. Oh my God, they can't pitch. Oh my, folks, they're still coming out of spring training, and it's going to take a while for them to get used to the weather because down in Florida and Arizona this year in March it was like 90 degrees, so it's like they're not used to the cold weather."
In March out here in Arizona.
Right. You guys had like 100 degrees like a couple weeks ago, in March. I was like, wow, that's a first out there, a very long time. So Adam, you have another question for him?
Yeah, so another team that I follow go to the American League is Boston Red Sox. Since I'm originally from New England, and the Red Sox right now, they're struggling. On the offensive, on the hitting side, people say they want the hitting coach gone. So what's your overall take on how the Red Sox have done so far, in this early start to the MLB season?
I feel like when you look at Boston's lineup, obviously the loss of Alex Bregman to the Chicago Cubs certainly hurts. That's both a clubhouse and a constant in the lineup because Bregman's one of those guys that's really good grinding pitchers. He gets on base a lot. And he's got good, maybe slightly above average power numbers. If you look at the home runs, he probably would have been like a 20 to 25 home run hitter. And then the Red Sox obviously tried to get, I guess you could say, fill that void by picking up Wilson Contreras to play first base in that situation. And also the loss of Devers, I think, hurts them as well. So I think also when you look at the way they built their roster, I think they were trying to hope that pitching and defense would make up for the lost offensive production, and so far it hasn't. So they paid a lot of money for Ronher Suarez, who's one of those pitchers they picked up, and then they also trade for Sonny Gray, Johan Oviedo. I think Oviedo's on the IL now. So it's one of those things. I think it could be a case where Boston's rotation is just struggling out of the gate, and there's nothing to worry about. But at the same time, it's like what they look like in the middle of May, the noise is going to get a lot louder, I will just say. So they probably do need to start turning things around to overcome a pretty painful start.
I do have one more question to you, Michael. This year is the debut of the ABS, and we've seen challenges go the right way, challenges not go the right way. What's your overall take on the ABS rule?
Well, I've seen the ABS both in the minor leagues and the Arizona Fall League, and it's for the most part it's not a disruptive process. And I've seen some really close calls. My only concern really is there's going to be a lot of calls that are kind of in that ABS margin of error, which is I think 0.02 or something like that. It's a pretty small margin. It's one of those things. Obviously, I think there's still work to do because the ABS system is determined by the hitter's height, not necessarily their stance. So if you get like a really tall guy like Aaron Judge, for example, who gets a really big crouch, he's going to get a lot of high strikes called against him in the ABS challenges. That's one extreme of the situation, although those number of pitches are probably insignificant over the course of the season.
Right. Yeah, I understand. I agree. I was watching the Met game today against Arizona, and they had the Mets, I thought it was called strike 3, and all of a sudden it was challenged and it wasn't a strike. And then two pitches later, the guy hit an RBI, 2-run single to tie the game. So that's where the ABS has come into play now. Like Gary Cohen on the Mets broadcast with Keith Hernandez was saying, if we had the rules from last year, it would have been 2-0 Mets going into the top of the 6th. Yeah, so I guess it works well, but in the long run, people have got to understand now you have a computer telling you balls and strikes and all that stuff.
I was going to be curious if they come up with a run stat for runs gained or lost to ABS challenges. I'm pretty sure they can do that already.
They should, because I think it would be interesting to see. And then you had the guy from Minnesota right last weekend here in Baltimore got tossed than the manager, because he thinks that Alonso took a very long time before he did the challenge or something like that.
Yeah,
And
it was
he got
Helsley, I believe.
Yes, that's right, Michael.
Yeah, and he got tossed, and he goes, and somebody goes, "You're the first one that got ejected from this computer," and he goes, "Well, I guess I'll be the first one for everything." Like that's, But these are things we're learning here in the first couple weeks of Major League Baseball with this stuff, because I know they used it during the summer, spring training last year, and people had it, didn't bother, with it wasn't any problems, but now everybody's like, "Oh, it's going to ruin the game and all that stuff," but I feel like it's speeding up the game now. Yeah, because it's not like you're waiting for an umpire to do a challenge or whatever, and you could just go right to the computer, touch your helmet. Even the pitcher could do is touch his cap, and then all of a sudden go up there and get the challenge.
Yeah, I actually watched the video of the Helsley challenge. He actually does immediately tap his head after the pitch is called a ball.
Right.
If you go watch that video, play Close Call Sports does a good job of breaking these ejections down.
Well, talk about your thing on Substack, Mike's Hardball Blueprint. How did you start doing that? When did that come and play? After years covering the D-backs, or you decided to try covering more broader Major League Baseball?
Yeah. So, long story short, I had a little bit of trouble, kind of, I guess you can say, gaining much traction trying to start my own Substack with the Diamondbacks.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's pretty difficult, I guess you can say, when you're on your own and not much institutional backing for it.
Right.
Kind of thing. If you don't already have a following going in, a huge following going in. So I thought, okay, I can take the things that I love about writing. So I like to do analysis and prospect content. That was the reason I was brought on when I did my stint with the Diamondbacks SI site. So I thought I could probably pull that, instead of just focusing on one team, I could focus on the bigger names of the top the 30 teams. So, for example, you'd cover Connor Griffin and his promotion, and whenever that extension is going to be finalized, kind of situation. Andrew Painter of the Phillies got a pretty good debut, and then kind of had a rough start last night against the Giants. And then,
I heard the Angels guy is 3-0 right now with a ERA of like 0.47 or something, and he beat the Braves last night. But winning three already in the early 2 weeks of the season, like he looks like he could be like Den McClain. We had him on the show like a couple weeks ago. Adam, he has a record of 30 wins in the season. It looks like I don't think the guy's going to win 30 games, but 3-0 in the first 2 weeks of the season. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Jose Soriano definitely is one of those pitchers that will tease a breakout, but doesn't necessarily put it together for 30 starts. I think, again, he's one of those guys. I think you look at the Angels system, and they're kind of short end on pitching, but Soriano is probably the closest thing they have to an ace in their rotation. And when he's on, he can give you 8 innings and 1 run ball, kind of like Sandy Alcantara does for the Marlins. One of the guys, when he's on, he's really on, and the Angels are probably going to win that game.
Right. Situation. Yeah, we can't worry about Paul Skeets, because I know he pitched against the Mets on opening day, and he only pitched like a half an inning, and people say yeah, but everybody was saying like, well, it's just first game in March, you don't want to have him run up a pitch count, but I feel like, to me, that he just pitched like 9 innings in the World Baseball Classic, so I think he's already past spring training right now.
I was going to say, that was also a case where they had some bad defense behind him. I think it was a couple balls that Neil Cruz lost in the sun. Had been played differently, it's probably a much different game, but obviously the Mets took advantage of that, those 2 extra outs, and put up a big number on them.
Oh, yeah. My father was watching the game. He goes, oh, that guy was doing that Olay out there. My dad used to play baseball all the time. He goes, like, you always hustle no matter what you do. And he goes, that guy needs to wear sunglasses. Like, are you serious? Like, how can you catch a ball in that high sun at Citi Field? There's no way. So like you said, if he had sunglasses and didn't, lay the dagger into the to catch the ball, it probably would have been 2-0 Pirates after 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you ever go to a spring training game, you'll see a guy lose the ball in the sun at least once a game.
Right.
I have one more question for you.
Go ahead, Adam. Finish it up.
I live here in Western North Carolina, and there's a player on the Seattle Mariners that's from around these parts. He played college baseball at Florida State University, Cal Raleigh, And last year, the season that he had, Michael, we were all proud of him out here, and we know he's had a slow start to the season. And last night, he did hit his first homer against the Texas Rangers. So, do you think Cal Raleigh can have another year like he did last year, or do you think his numbers will taper off?
I mean, if you look at his 2025 season, 60 home runs is obviously it's going to be an outlier, especially although Raleigh doesn't have the typical catcher playing time. When he doesn't catch, they just put him at DH, and they have someone else in there. But I think with the numbers that he puts up, obviously, I guess you can say he hits close to the league. He's a guy that hits close to league average and is carried a lot by the power number. He's swinging and missing a lot this year. I think his strikeout rate's over 40%. His strikeout rate's over 40%. His swing and miss rate's over 40. 40% of his swings he misses the ball. But it could also just be an early season slump situation. Like I said, I don't like to make any long-term conclusions of how the season's going to go before May 15th. So we're obviously 5 weeks away from that point. But you also have to assume here that he's going to have to figure out how to, I guess you can say, also not only try and make more contact when he swings, but also getting more out of it. And I wonder what his numbers would look like if he wasn't robbed by Heidel in that 3-homer robbery game. Raleigh was the first.
You and me both, Michael. You and me both, brother. I'd like to know that as well. Yeah,
you don't see that often in baseball. You can see like maybe one robbery, in a game, like a nice hit, but 3 in a row by the same guy. that's really unheard of.
Maybe he learned his lesson.
Last 2 would have been game-tying home runs late in the game.
I know.
Well. Right.
That's true, Michael.
That's cool. Well, Michael, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll touch base with you down the road.
All right, thanks for having me on.
All right, man. See you. Bye.
Thanks, Michael.
That's Michael McDermott, who covers his rights for Michael's Hardball Blueprint on Substack. So hopefully you could go on there and watch it as well. So
and it's like it's called 15 days, and then I'm in Ohio for the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, that's true.
Folks, I will say, speaking of the Tournament of Champions, I will be getting a lot of exclusive video for our show. I'm going to try to do as many interviews as I can. Some people in mind are probably going to be Brandon Bonta, Patrick Dombrowski, obviously catch up with Rick Allen, Carl Sherman, and Tara Natcher. So be on the lookout for all those when I get back after the TLC. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hoping the weather's good while I'm in Ohio. And this week, the PBA Tour is at a place that they've been gone to, and it seems like forever. Rochester.
Yeah.
It's like Chris, I'm assuming you remember the Kodak Invitational from Marcel's Olympic Bowl. I was like, and
our good friend Jason Steiner was he's from that area. So
Jason Steiner,
so we had him on during the
weeks ago. So they're going back to Western New York, and did you get a chance to watch episode 4 of Born to?
Yes, I was watching it last night, and let's talk about this real quick before we wait for the guy for the White Sox. Here's the the walk-off in Citi Field.
Nice strike. And Mauricio drives it to right field. That'll win the game. Ronnie Mauricio's first at bat of the season is a walk-off hit in the bottom of the 10th inning. And the Mets win it 4-3. Oh, wow. How wonderful for that young man. Just back in the big leagues, getting his opportunity. First at bat, down in the count 0-2, and Ronnie Mauricio delivers his first career walk-off RBI, and the Mets have won 4 straight games Indians as they rally to beat the Diamondbacks in 10, 4-3.
So the Mets beat the Fighting Dan Torres today. Sorry, Dan.
It's early in the season, Chris. But those wins do count. I will say they do count.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of bowling, our one of the Barnes' son had an opportunity to get this win, his first win on TV. And let me find what I wrote. I'm trying to find what I wrote here.
Well,
here it is. So here is the final. If you missed it on the Professional Bowlers Tour on the CW, here is the Ryan Barnes' final shot.
8 pins, and now that is Spencer Robards, the title winner.
Yeah, he tried to play the inside part. He just threw it left. He missed too far left. The ball couldn't get to the pocket. Spencer's your champion.
So Chris Barnes leads the 6-10, and Robards.
Ryan Barnes.
Yeah. So Ryan will get there soon.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's his second career second place finish. He had one last year at the Players against Ethan Thorey. So
Ethan Fiore, yeah.
So hopefully we'll get. Hopefully he'll get there soon. So.
Oh yeah, I mean this week it's Rochester. Next week it's the Royal Holman Double Championship at Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine, and then time for your partner in crime to go fly away to.
Yes. So, folks, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that YouTube.
Yeah, it's got to hit the subscribe button and follow us on all our social media accounts. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter. And Chris, something new tonight that you're trying. We're actually live right now on Instagram.
Yeah, we're trying that, but the problem was it's slowing down the feed there. So I have to. Yeah, it was just a test tonight to see if anybody tunes into it.
We
tried the first guest. We'll try more during the week and weeks prior. Maybe we could, try 1 week without, Twitter. But right now, Twitter is doing a really good job. I didn't do Facebook today because I had a little situation. We'll talk about that off the air. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the Orioles won today 4-2 over the White Sox. So they snapped their losing streak against after a long weekend in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. Yeah, and they moved that game up to 3:00 Central Time.
Saw that
because of the cold weather around here. It's been because I guess we're going to have a freeze warning here in New York and Chicago tonight because it's going down to 27 degrees.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a freeze warning down here in North Carolina too. So, I know we're talking Major League Baseball here, but at 8:05 p.m. Eastern, I don't know how you got this guy, Chris, but if you love college basketball, folks, you want to know what goes on behind the scenes, then we're going to have the lead director for the college basketball coverage on CBS Sports, Mark Grant.
Yes.
And when I saw this, Chris, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I tried to get somebody for the NCAA tournament because we came after Monday when everybody watched the title game and stuff, and and we'll have a friend Rob Knox on. He did the women's tournament out in Phoenix.
Yeah, I gotta say congratulations.
So we'll talk college basketball because now basketball is finished for the year, and now we have to wait till November, sometime in November when they start.
Yeah, November, yeah, and we're also gonna in a couple weeks. Thursday's the NFL draft, and we're gonna talk to Qiant Myers from Lockdown Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders, because they got the number one pick. And speaking of the number one pick, there was a report out today that Fernando will not go to the NFL. He will not be attending the NFL draft in Pittsburgh later this month because ESPN was reporting today because of I guess he was to stay with his family. I think that's
that is a report I saw, Chris,
Yeah.
from Adam Schefter. And
I think that's a smart idea.
I think that's smart too.
Yeah. Celebrate being the number one pick with your the people who helped you along the way. Yeah.
I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, we got tomorrow or Thursday is 2 weeks to the NFL draft, and there's a lot of Ohio State Buckeye players that could get drafted.
Right.
Top 15 picks. So, and I'm looking forward to seeing. Obviously, there's a few Seminole players that could get drafted, but one person that stands out to me is linebacker from Texas Tech, Jacob Rodriguez. He won the Nagurski Award. I have enjoyed following his career in Lubbock, and everything that I've heard, he could get drafted to the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
Nice, but we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of the NCAA, let's talk about real quick before we get Ed Coleman. I got to give him a call. Broke Monday afternoon.
Yes.
The North Carolina Tar Heels hired this gentleman on as their new head coach of the Tar Heels. So Adam, I don't know. Are you blind? Yeah, you got to turn yourself on. Or I have to turn it on. Hold on.
There you go.
Right.
I got it.
There we go. I got you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. What's your take on that? Having an outsider.
I'll say this: the way overall college basketball is nowadays, Chris.
Yeah.
With the NIL and the transfer portal, you could sort of say it's like semi-pro, and everything that I've heard from alums of North Carolina that have played college basketball there, they say it's a grand slam. I know Roy Williams was in attendance for Michael Malone's news conference. I know that Bill Belichick was on hand. Tyler Hansborough was on hand. So, they're going away from the North Carolina tree. So,
I think
what happens, and
they should.
I love it. I mean, when you blow a 19-point lead against VCU, and it's like, I think people knew it was coming, Chris. And it's like, so we'll see how Mike Malone, he currently is an analyst for the NBA on ESPN. So, we'll see how everything develops next season.
So let me. I wish we had our partner in crime, Matt, with us tonight, but he had something scheduled. So.
Well, it's glad you can.
Yeah.
So give Ed Coleman a call.
Let me give him a call. Trying to see what I could play here in the meantime.
Well,
I don't know. We'll do the old fashioned. Let me. I guess I'll play the beginning part real quick before we get him on.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that was Hall & Oates. Today was one of the Hall & Oates' birthday today.
Yeah, no, cool. Yeah, Chris.
So let's play that, and we'll get Ed Coleman on the phone in a minute here.
Cool.
folks. We're back here after a little break there. We have this gentleman on the line. This guy used to do a lot of Mets Extra on after Met games on WFAN in New York. I used to listen to him a lot when I was a kid growing up, and now he's actually enjoying his retirement, but he still could talk Met baseball because he spent a lot of time around that wonderful locker room of the Mets up there in Shea and Citi Field. Let's bring in Ed Coleman, former Met reporter for WFAN in New York. So, Ed, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and happy. I hope you had a great Easter. How was your Easter?
Yeah, it was very good, Chris. Thanks very much, and it's good to be with you. I never know when Easter's going to be. It's either early in March or late in April. I have no idea, but when it comes, it's always good to see.
Yeah, I know you're retired from doing the field reporting for the Mets, but I know I met you a couple times in the Mets press box at Citi Field and a couple of times down at Camden Yards. Just talk about your wonderful career. How was it like being in that press box with the Mets and during the days that they were doing pretty well in 2000 and, going to the World Series and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, it was a lot of ups and downs, as you can probably guess, with the Mets. That's been the story of a story of the franchise over the years. But hey, listen, there were some great years too, some lean years. I first joined them in 1993, which was the worst team money could buy, and it went up from there. It took a little while to go up from there, but it did go up from there. Late 90s, early 2000s, obviously very good teams, the World Series in 2000, and probably their best teams 2006, 2007. They went to the World Series in 15, but listen, it was a lot of fun over the years. You meet a lot of good guys and watched a lot of good ball too over the years, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about today. I know you probably watched the game like I did, on our SNY package on MLB TV. What do you think about the comeback when you saw a lot of those in your heyday on the field with the Mets after the games were over?
Yeah, it was interesting today just simply because Jared Young gets the sac fly to tie the game, and then Ronnie Mauricio, who was just called up, gets the game winner in the 10th, and that's what you need, for a team to go a long way. You need the other guys and the guys you don't expect on a day-to-day basis to chip in, and they both did. So I think that's a great sign. They're off to a good start. Having Soto out for 2 to 3 weeks is not a great thing, but I think somehow they can patch that up and get through. But it was nice to see. I can remember running out to do interviews of games game-winning interviews, whatever, that you didn't expect. Let's put it that way. And there were also some the other way too. They slipped away from them late in the 8th and 9th inning, and you're expecting to do an interview and you never did. So. Yeah. But I like the way that the team looks right now. I think they're deep in pitching, and we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. But I think there's some good signs early on.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for Ed?
Yeah. I actually have connections with the New York Mets, Ed. I have a cousin who knew terrific Tom Seaver back in the day, and I've heard a lot of stories from him about knowing Tom. But I want to go back to the iconic Subway Series for the World Series, the Yankees versus the Mets. What was it like to cover that historic World Series?
Well, it was intense. I will say that. One thing I will say, and I may be in the minority as far as this goes. I think it's great when you're in the World Series. You can always go to another city and see what that's like. And you were kind of robbed of that, New York. But at the same time, it was intense. Obviously, you had a lot of Yankee fans at Shea Stadium, and vice versa. You had Met fans sneaking into Yankee Stadium too. But that was a World Series that was kind of tough to take. I know it ended in 5 games. It wasn't a 7-game cliffhanger, but the Mets had a lot of opportunities to break through and win a couple of other games, and just didn't make it. So it was frustrating to go through that, but it was intense at the same time, and it was a lot of fun for the city.
Yeah. I have a story to tell you, Ed. I went to the Yankee Stadium for a football game. It was Notre Dame and Syracuse a couple years ago, and I walked in the press box with my Met hat on, and I was in the elevator, and the guy looked at me and goes, "How are you wearing that hat in this elevator?" I'm like, "I'm a Met fan. I'm from Oceanside, New York. I care less about Yankee Stadium." And he goes, and the guy looked at me in the elevator and goes, "I'm a Met fan too, but I can't wear it here. As I might be dragged out of here probably." I'm like, "Yeah, you probably would be." Yeah, but
yeah, definitely. It's like wearing Yankee paraphernalia at Citi Field or Shea Stadium is not a good idea either. And
right.
You at least went to see my alma mater. I went to Syracuse, so they win that day. I don't even remember. Probably not.
I think they played Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame blew them out. But it was Notre Dame had those cool Yankee jerseys that they put on. It was that Shamrock Series thing going on.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dino Babers was the coach, and Dino Babers, I think he was okay, but I think the problem was he wasn't getting the recruits to come up to Syracuse.
Right.
He had one good year, and then like 2 bad years, and he was a great guy. I had a great time talking to him.
Yeah, no, he was a good guy, but he had some tough years, and they had to make a change. I think the change is for the better too.
Yeah. What do you think about the new coach? Let's first talk about football, and then talk about basketball, because they brought back one of Boeheim's favorite players.
Oh, McNamara?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of waiting for Siena to get knocked out of the NCAA tournament so Syracuse could, file the first application to bring McNamara back. I mean, it was a natural fit. Jerry, listen, I think Jerry will he'll recruit well. He's very personable. He's a blue collar kind of player, gets down and dirty. He's going to get those kind of players, I think, for Syracuse too. And I think it may take a little time, but I think he's going to turn that program around. I think it's a great hire. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah. So, even though the New York Mets lost Pete Alonso, Baltimore this year, do you think that they can contend in the NL East with the Phillies and Braves?
Yeah, no, I do. The Braves have surprised me thus far how well they've pitched, because they were decimated in pitching during spring training. I think they have 3 or 4 starters out. I'm not even sure, but the depth has been tested anyway. And the Phillies will get one of my old friends, Zach Wheeler, back. He was a Met for a long time, but Zach's had a pretty good career down in Philadelphia. So, it's not going to be easy. It will be tough. But, yeah, no, I think they can contend. I kind of always had the sense that Pete was going to go, simply because David Stearns does not like giving out long-term contracts to, aging players. And, you might say, well, Pete's only 31, but at the same time, you got a 5 or 6 year contract. By the end of that, you don't know how he's going to be producing, and whether he'll, be producing the kind of numbers that you want for that money. So I kind of felt he'd be going, and I was very interested in how they were going to replace him. Now, the replacement is I think, a little bit strange, simply because Stearns had talked in the offseason about getting better defensively, and, their corners in the infield are not exactly guys that you think of with an upgrade in defense. Dante Bichette at Bo Bichette, I should say. I'm talking about his dad now.
Yeah.
That's how far I go back.
Right.
Bo Bichette at third base and Polanco at first base, although Vientos is filling in pretty nicely there. But they're fairly strong up the middle. I think they should be okay. But yeah, no, I think they can contend with this team, and I think Stearns did a pretty good job turning it around. And I know there were a lot of Met fans in the fall who were going crazy when Alonso left, and then of course Edwin Diaz left as well, and they were saying, how are we ever going to climb out of this hole? But I think he did a pretty nice job of turning things around.
Yeah, I do have one question to ask before we get before you leave. Carlos Beltran's getting his jersey retired. You had a chance to interview him after the games and all that stuff. When did you know that he was a Met? Because I know I remember the day he signed the big contract. I was on vacation, and I was like, we had a lot of money, going his way, and I think he became a Met right after that home run he did. I think it was against the Phillies in his first year.
I think you may be right. If I remember right, I'm trying to remember whether. Listen, he signed a 7-year deal at the time, and I thought it was a great contract because if you're going to sign a 7-year deal, a long-term deal for either position player or a pitcher, make sure they're in the prime of their career. And he was 27, I think, at the time. And it took Carlos a little while to get used to New York, but honestly, I've always said this about his contract. I thought he had 4.5 very good years. He was hurt a little bit during that. He had a slow start at the beginning. Last year was not his best, but in between, I thought he produced very well, and it was nice to listen. He's going in the Hall of Fame, so it's nice to see that the Mets are going to retire his number as well, and he'll go in the Mets Hall of Fame too. It's going to be a big year for him for sure.
Yeah. Well, I wish we had some more pull in the office. When did we get Gary Carter's number retired? He needs to be retired soon.
Agreed.
Yeah, that would be nice to see. They have it. It's interesting though. They have retired quite a few numbers since Steve Cohen has come aboard and taken over. The helm of the franchise. They certainly have picked up the number retirements a little bit. Of course, you had Keith last year, and others as well. David Wright, his number 2. So you'll probably see some more in the future too. Yeah.
Well, Ed, let's let you go. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you had a great enjoy your rest of your spring, summer, and we'll talk to you down the road.
That'd be great, Chris. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, sir. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ed.
I see you. Bye. See you. All right, that's a great Ed Coleman, who I used to listen a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, dude.
On WFAN in New York when they had the Met.
Yes.
And he was and I forgot to ask him about Howie Rose because he
is retiring at the end.
Yeah,
of the season.
We'll talk to him more down the road. We got a full rest of the year for us.
Well, hey, Chris, can I bring in our next guest?
Yeah, real quick. Let's see what else. Oh, there was a. Did you know we interviewed the guy from Mount St. Mary's?
We did.
Yeah, the coach.
Dan Engelstead. Yeah, we did interview Dan Engelstead. I remember him.
I still have his phone number. I texted him when he was up in Syracuse. I guess he forgot to call me back or what the heck is going on. But I'll try to call him.
Where's the Pepperdine?
Yeah, it's off to Pepperdine. He did really well as Mount St. Mary's.
Yes, I remember. It's been a couple years ago when we had Coach Engelstead on. I remember that.
Yeah, so I still have his phone number. So I'm thinking about giving him a call this week when I get a chance outside and walking around. Maybe I could get him on the program and talk about his new gigs at Pepperdine because he's such a
he's a nice guy too. He's a nice guy, to have on the show. But
yeah, folks, at 9:30 we're going to be talking about what's going on at UMBC softball because it's been a heck of a season for them. They kind of canceled their season due to situations with the coaching staff. So we're going to have a young lady come on. Maren Angus-Coombs will be joining us. She writes for Softball SI. She did a story about it, and I read it yesterday. And you better have your popcorn ready for that one. Oh my God, these two people who were running UMBC. I just want to say, what is going on with that administration? Because you had a great coach in Chris Kohlmeyer.
We did, yeah.
Went down to Mercer, and he was the one who sent me a message. He goes on Twitter the other day. He goes, "Did you see what's going on at UMBC?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw it the other day, and I was going to text you about it." Yeah.
I was like, and then when you told me, Chris, I was like, "What in holy hellations is going on?"
There's a lot of
Baltimore County.
Yeah,
I was like, out of all places.
Yeah, exactly. What's top of the hour? So, Adam, you want to bring this?
Yep, folks. We all know that the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship ended last night in Indianapolis, and the Michigan Wolverines won their first championship since 1989. So, this gentleman is no stranger to March Madness. Starting in 1999, he's covered it. He's covered other sports at CBS. But if you know March Madness, you know our next guest. He's the lead director for college basketball coverage on CBS Sports. Let's bring in the great Mark Rand joining us tonight. Mark, are you there?
Hello, Mark.
Mark, are you there?
I don't know. Hi, Mark.
Mark, can you hear us?
I don't think he hears us. I don't know. Hello, Mark.
Chris, tell him to log in.
We'll try to. I'll send him a message. See if he's there.
Yeah, tell him to log off and log back in. But yeah, when you hear that noise, it's called. When you hear that, it's called.
I think he's ready. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh,
let's
for
see.
us, it's called.
There. Yeah. Let's bring it in. We'll see him in. Let's see if he's there. Hi, Mark. Are you there? I don't think he's working.
Hey, Mark, can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Let me just tell him to log back off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell him to log off and log back in. Yeah.
Yeah. Something's not connecting. I have no idea.
I don't know. But
I don't know.
yeah.
So anyway, we got some other stuff. We're gonna talk about the Masters later with Drew Forrester.
Oh, yeah, the Masters is this week. It's called Mark knows about the Masters.
Yes, Mark knows about the Masters. I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know if he's there.
Chris, it's called. Do you have his number?
No, I don't. Let's see. Let me try him again. Mark, are you there? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? I heard somebody blowing something. Can you hear us?
Mark, can you hear us?
Let me tell him I'll call him. Hold on. Folks, we're having technical difficulties here, so hold on.
Folks, isn't technology wonderful when it wants to work?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, but Chris is called. Leave a message and
Call you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me see if he texts me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Let me call you. I will call you.
Yeah, we'll call Mark Rand.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
folks, isn't technology wonderful?
Yeah, we'll technology.
But,
all right.
yeah, it's called.
All right, let me call him, and then we'll.
Yeah, call Mark.
Yeah, we'll call Mark here. All right, hold on here. What the hell is going on with my phone?
I don't know. In technology, when it wants to work, it wants to work.
Yeah. All right, hold on a second here.
Hey.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing? It's Chris Heidel. How are you?
What's going on?
Not bad. Let me get you on the air. We're on the air here. I guess something happened with the StreamYard, but we could do it by phone if you want to do it. It'll be a lot easier.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live right now, so I appreciate you joining us.
Great.
Talk about the NCAA tournament. I know you were the head director of it from CBS/TNT Sports. You've been doing it for years. How was the tournament this year? Any cool things that you did and places you go?
Well, you know, being with the lead team with Iron Eagle, Bill Raftery, Grant Hill, Tracy Wolfson. You know, we had the Duke UConn game last weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. You know, exciting finish and something that's going to go down in history as one of the great comebacks in you know, college basketball history. You know, some people say it may replace the Leitner shot as the iconic, you know, March Madness shot that people see. I think it was a great shot, and the fact that UConn won the game was good. I mean, if they had, you know, if that shot had been to tie the game and force it in overtime, and then UConn lost the game. I don't know if that shot will ever be as iconic as it is with them winning the game. And so it was a lot of fun. And, March Madness is a lot of fun. The first week of the tournament is very chaotic with 8 teams, 4 games on the first day of the tournament, whether that's Thursday or Friday. It is a marathon. Those 2 days you watch 8 teams practice the day before, and then you do 4 games the next day. It's really, really tough. You get a day off, and then you come back the next day, whether that's Saturday and Sunday, and do in my case, it was on Saturday, and you do 2 more games. We were in Greenville the first week, but I was telling the crew that only a few teams, a lot of teams start out the season hoping to get to the tournament, and I think the same is true with production people, whether it's producers, directors, announcers, cameramen, technicians, or whatever. When you get chosen to do the tournament, it's pretty special. Whether you're a team or whether you're a production team or whether you're a basketball team, and so getting the chance to do it is great. And then you get to do it the second week, and then you're the last team standing, production team standing, and go to the Final Four. And I don't think the Final Four lived up to its billing the way we would have hoped it would have.
Why we are back.
It was fun to do it, and it was a good game last night. And although it didn't, it wasn't the buzzer beater, team winning in the last minute. I was very happy with the way it finished, the way that we did our job and covered the game.
Yeah, people didn't realize the Final Four, the championship game was on TBS because for the longest time it's been on CBS. So I guess TNT and CBS are now flip flopping back and forth. Like one year CBS does it, and next year TBS and TNT does it.
That's right.
Yeah, do you like that flip flop and back and forth?
Well, it doesn't really impact me at all. I mean, the CBS production crew does the game even when it's on TBS. So I directed the game last night. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't. It may sound a little bit of a cliche, but I'm very honored and privileged to have a chance to direct the game, whatever network it's on. And so, it's on TBS. It was on TBS last night. But as far as my perspective and what it means to me, it doesn't mean anything. I go out there and do the same job no matter what.
Adam, you have a question for him? Adam? Hello. I don't know. Adam, you muted. Hold on. Let me get him. Hold on.
All right.
All right, go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
I will. First of all, it is an honor to talk with you, Mark. I've been watching college basketball on CBS for it seems like forever. I don't live far from Greenville, South Carolina, but do you ever do the direction for the selection show?
I don't do this. I don't do the selection show. My only part of the selection show is that I do the Big Ten tournament, and the 2 teams that play in the Big Ten championship, when that game is over, they go to separate rooms and watch the selection show. And we've got a camera in each of those rooms, so when those teams get selected, we know they go to the CBS live shot of those 2 teams. And so I will say this, when the selection show goes on, we are as excited as everybody else. We've got our brackets ready to fill out and all that, but I don't really have a lot to do with the selection show per se, except providing a couple shots for the 2 teams that are the finalists in the Big Ten tournament.
Okay. I will say, another question is how cool is it to work with a legend like Bill Rafferty?
It's great. I have so much love for Bill. I have so much respect for him. I worked at ESPN long before I worked at CBS. I'm in my 29th year at CBS, and Bill and I crossed paths at ESPN. And when I came to CBS and we did basketball together every now and then. I wasn't with him every single week or anything like that. And then when Bill got to the A crew, on college basketball. I got there way after him. I've only been on the A crew for basketball for 4 years, but it was great to come, to be back with him and every week we do games together leading up to the tournament. And he's just a great guy. He's so compassionate. He loves the game. He loves the people he works with. Sunday night, Bill and his wife and his daughters and his son had a big dinner for a lot of people at a restaurant in Indianapolis. Of course, we got invited to it, and Ian and Grant and Tracy Wilson got invited. My producer Ken Mack got invited, and there were a lot of people there like PJ Colissimo and Jim Boeheim and other people like that. And he does that, and he pays for it himself. It was it's very, very nice, and I just love everything about Bill, what he stands for, his integrity, his hard work. Seeing a guy like that's in his 80s out there working hard every day, it makes me want to work hard as well. And so I can't say enough great things about Bill. He's one of my favorite people I've ever worked with in my life.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, what is the preparation? Because I know when I do a show, like we're doing a show right now, it's a lot of preparation, getting guests on the show, a lot of people. What do you do to get ready for a broadcast? Let's say you have the tip off at, let's say 12:30 on a Saturday afternoon. It's on CBS after, before, let's say, and a college football game, whatever. What time do you get to the arena, and what did you do the night before to get ready for this broadcast?
Yeah, well, let's talk about yesterday. Let's talk about the game yesterday, the championship game. A lot goes into it. Early yesterday afternoon, around 2 or 3 o'clock. The game doesn't start till almost 9 o'clock. But at 3 o'clock, I was out there watching the rehearsal for the national anthem because I had to cover the national anthem last night, and I want to make sure I have all my shots lined up. When the public address announcer talks about color guard, I want to make sure I have a camera on the color guard, so when he mentions I got a shot on that. And so we spent a lot of time rehearsing that kind of stuff. As far as the game goes, I'm the director, and so I'm more like the quarterback, and the producer's like the head coach. And so I kind of execute the game plan. When you watch a game on TV and you see all the camera shots change and the replays come on the screen and the graphics, I put everything on the air. And so for me, the challenge is to know the players, all the players that are going to play by their name and number, because they could talk about a player at any time, and I want to be able to say, camera 5, give me 32 black. Or if they talk about Caravan, Alex Caravan, I know he's 11. He's number 11 black, and Cadeau is number 3 white, and so memorizing the players is one of the things that I really have to do. Now it's much easier in basketball because you only got about 12, 13 kids on each roster, whereas in the NFL it's a lot more challenging with a 56-man roster and trying to memorize all those players every single week. But yeah, getting ready for the game, I try to memorize the rosters. I go to practice and watch the teams practice, so I can see the players and put faces with names and all that. But I would say that for the director, 90% of what he does happens before the game, whereas with the producer, I'd say 90% of what he does happens before the game. While for the director, it all happens once the game begins. So my job really starts when they tip the ball off. Is what's really when I really earn my money.
Yeah, I was reading your bio. You sent it to me this afternoon. You covered sports in 10 countries and 48 states. What 2 states you haven't been at yet? And do we need to get you there? Have you been to Hawaii, or have you been to...
Yeah, well, I've been to all 50 states. Last summer, I took a vacation to Montana and knocked out my 50th state. But I've never covered a sporting event in Montana, and I've never covered a sporting event in Alaska. Those are the 2 states that I haven't. I've been there, but I haven't covered an event there. And so, not sure if I'll get that chance to now because I do such. I do the NFL, and there's no team in Montana or Alaska, and I'm not sure there's going to be any college basketball that interests us in those 2 states as well. But I've been to all 50, and very few people could say that. And to have covered sports in 48 of those 50 states is pretty cool.
I think it's pretty cool. And they used to do the Alaska Shootout. Do they still do that?
Yes. They don't do it anymore. And when I worked at ESPN, I always wanted to go because I always hoped that would be, state I could knock off on my list.
Right.
Never got the opportunity, but they don't do it anymore. And so, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of basketball in Alaska anytime soon.
Oh, geez.
Oh, I've got to ask you one more question, since you are the director of college football for CBS. Obviously, this year, you guys now are going to have coverage of the new Pac-12 conference. So, what would it be like for you as a director to add another conference to the repertoire you guys already have with the Big Ten and others?
Yeah. I do the NFL for CBS. I don't do college football anymore.
Okay.
Past. And so I don't know what's going to happen and how they're going to approach the new Pac-12, the Pac whatever conference.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
Yeah.
12, Pac-10.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're calling it, but I'm not going to be a part of it. But I know that whatever CBS does with that conference, they're going to put a lot of effort into it. They're going to put a lot of resources into it, and they're going to help build that conference up the same way they did when they first got the SEC, and now the you know what the SEC has turned into.
Mm-hmm.
We do the Big Ten. We do the Big Ten with some other partner networks as well, and we don't have exclusivity in there. But CBS still takes it very, very seriously. And whatever, the one thing I like about working with CBS is they're going to give you the resources to make every show great and competitive in terms of comparing it to other networks, other people who do the same conference. And so I have no doubt that when it comes to whatever college football they do, whether it's the Mountain West, whatever it's going to be, the Big Ten, the Pac-10, whatever they're calling it, it's going to be done at a very, very high level.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, and you do the NFL. What's it like doing an NFL game with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo or whoever you're? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I get to work with. I don't work with Nantz and Romo, although I have worked with Jim Nantz, in the past. I did his last year of college basketball when he left, doing college basketball. I work with Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta, and it's a privilege to do the NFL. When you think about that, there's only 16 games on a given weekend, right? There's 32 teams. If they all play, there's only 16 people who sit in a director's chair and direct the NFL, and I'm one of those directors. And there are a lot of people who want to do it. There are a lot of people who can't do it. But right now, I'm one of the few that gets a chance to do it every single week, and I never really take that for granted. I never forget what an honor it is to do that, and it's a reward for a lot of hard work, right? I left ESPN to come to CBS when they got the NFL back in 1998, and I've been doing the NFL ever since then. And so it's great to do it. I don't care what game you're doing, if it's two bad teams or if it's two great teams. You're one of the few people that gets a chance to do that, and I'm sure that I speak for everybody who does it when I say that we never ever take that for granted.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I appreciate you joining us, and if you ever come to Baltimore, let me know, because I would love to come down and see what you do before a game, because I would.
It's called if you ever come to North Carolina, it's called. I mean.
All right, guys, I'll do it. Both of you guys.
All right.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch, okay?
Okay,
thanks Mark.
All right, man. See you. Back.
Holy crap!
If I could get to an NFL game and watch, from the
booth. I
would like to see all that. That's like to me, it's like
I would love to
cool
see
technology
behind the scenes. Yeah, and it's like, but
and the video I played you guys during his interview was actually, I found this on YouTube. This is what he does in the controls.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he's in the middle. He's right there. He's the big man right there.
Right there, yeah.
And he has all those TV monitors. And it's pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay. I mean, it's like
the old fashioned camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera. When you hear when they do the Monday Night Football back in the 70s, when they did we need camera 1. We got camera 1. We need camera 2. Ready, roll them. You hear that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I often like to know obviously, I like to know what goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, every time I hear March Madness, every time I hear that theme,
and
it's like, now I know, it's like, at least I know come NFL season that Mark Grant is going to be somewhere, and it's like obviously, hopefully the Carolina Panthers will be on CBS. When the schedule gets released, in the summers, and
Yeah, maybe we could go down. Maybe there's a weekend and we come down. I go down, and maybe we could.
cool. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I was like, I thought, it's like, that's cool.
Okay. Somebody, Todd, the guy from the White Sox, gave us a recording of something for a show, so I'll put that on later in the program.
Okay.
Yeah, he couldn't make it. So, speaking of, today is April 7th. Back in 1984, this gentleman started his pitching for the New York Mets. His name was the Doctor, Dwight Gooden, and he took on the Houston Astros and he's only 19 years old on this date in 1984. So here is a maybe a 4-minute clip. We're waiting for Michael to join us from Just Mets. We're waiting for him to join us, hopefully. I talked to everybody yesterday, so I hope everybody got everything. So
yeah.
So here it is. Here's his first inning in Major League Baseball.
There's the young right-hander, Dwight Gooden. Last year,
he did it all.
He sure did. 19-4 at Lynchburg, 300 strikeouts. Won a couple of games at Tidewater, I believe, didn't he?
He won one game he won one and lost one in the playoffs, and then won another one in the Little World Series. So that's 21 victories in the minors last year.
The Astros line up the same as last night. And Bill Doran set to lead off against Gooden. Gooden, whose parents are here watching. Doran takes a ball.
Here's a fellow, as Doran steps in, Jim, that's 19 years old plus, and what we're talking about the last inning was how many pitches does he have? He obviously, by looking at his stats, throws hard. He's up in the 90s, I assume, and probably doesn't use a whole lot besides that at this stage.
He's gonna go through this whole baseball season. There's a tap on the right side. Doran may have broken the bat. And Gardenhire throws him out. He will go through this season 19. He will not turn 20 until November. He's a young 19.
19, 4 months, and 22 days. I was trying to figure out what Nolan Ryan was when he first pitched for the Mets. Nolan was 19 years old, but he didn't come up, I don't think, till later in the season, so he's older than this young man.
Terry Poole, the batter, 1 for 4 last night. The Mets have had a few 19-year-olds, haven't they, or teenagers play for them.
I think they've had about 5. I think that there have been 2 pitchers. I think the note said that there have been 2 pitchers younger than Gooden is to start for the Mets, or to pitch for the Mets.
Kendo was an everyday player last year at 19. There's a strike. 0-2 to Poole, and of course Crane Poole is the one that first comes to mind, the first one they had.
I always remember Crane Poole. I always associate Ed with Rusty. They came up about the same time, both as, I think, 18, 19-year-olds.
2 strikes on Poole.
Rusty's longevity a little more than Crane Poole's.
Yeah. Misses inside, ball 1, strike 2.
Gooden pitched at Lynchburg last night. That was an A-League, and he led the Carolina League. He had 6 shutouts in that league last year, and was pitcher of the year for the Carolina League.
Poole takes that one, and it misses outside, 2-2. At one time last year, he won 15 in a row.
Well, his record last year was what, 19 and what?
4, I believe, at Lynchburg.
I guess if that's your record, you got to win some in a row, aren't you? With only 4 losses. Well, that sounded just like the first one.
It sure did. And the same result as Gardenhire throws out Poole.
That's another interesting thing. Both of the balls, I think that, like you mentioned, that Doran broke his bat on the one that he hit, and the one that Poole just hit there, a very hard sound. And usually, we call it, he throws a very hard pitch. That is, it's usually a fastball that sinks. And you get that kind of a sound out of a bat when it's hit to the infield, and a good fastball that comes down.
Dickie Thon off to a good start this year, hitting over 400, takes a strike. Was 1 for 4 last night. All 4 hits for the Astros came in the first. They're the parents. They came over from Florida to watch Dwight Gooden in his big league debut. On the foul tip, it's 0-2. First 4 batters in the Astro lineup had all the hits last night.
He has pitched in 38 minor league games, has won 24 and lost 9. Kind of interesting to look at his stats, Jim. A 2.57 ERA in the minors, and he struck out 344 batters in 270 innings.
Oh. Gets his first strikeout here. The Astros down in order in the first. Dwight Gooden, impressive. Couple of ground balls on the right side, and then he strikes out Dickie Thon. So we've played an inning, and we have no score. The Astros and the Mets.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first inning for Dwight Gooden.
That's like, dang.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll. Yeah, so I'll give him a call back. So that was on this date in 1984. Another baseball memory on this date in 1984. Some guy pitched a no-hitter for the Detroit Tigers. This guy, you probably know.
Oh, Blackjack.
Yeah, Jack Morris, who pitched with the Tigers and the Twins at one of the World
Don't
Series.
remind me about the Twins.
So here is the final inning of his no-hitter in 1984 against the White Sox.
Swinging, and he has his no-hitter.
All right, Jack Morris with the no-hitter on this day in 1984. So 2 things happened on this day in 1984. Jack Morris's no-hitter, and Doc Gooden came up and pitched for the Mets on the same date. So I guess Jack Morris pitched the no-hitter in the daytime, and that game was at night for the doctor. Yeah. And Dwight Gooden had a great curveball when he first came up. And you know who has a great curveball right now? That guy from the Mets, McLean.
Oh, yeah.
If you saw the pitch against Devers the other day in San Francisco, he looked like he was shell shocked. Yeah, he was like, "Oh wow!" Yeah, because the curveball was like, dude, it came up like this and like dropped right down. Yeah. So I'm trying to wait for whoever's going to join us. We're having with the Easter holiday and all that stuff. It's been trying to get a hold of people, so we're trying to track them down.
Michael Barron and Qiant Myers, the host of Locked On Raiders.
Yeah, we're waiting for him to join us. See if he sent me a message. Yeah. So hold on here, guys.
Folks, technology is wonderful when it wants to work.
Yeah, and also it's wonderful when people can, when they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Get the times mixed up because I know he's on the East Coast. Michael was.
No, it's called Qiant on the West Coast.
Yeah, and then our the guy with Raiders is on the West Coast, so hopefully. He said 8:30. Yeah, so
8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, so hopefully he. Let me see if he sent me a message on Twitter. Yeah. Because I sent them the link to tune in. So anyway, folks, if you want to tune in and make us part of your subscribe to us.
Yeah, it's called Hit This. It's called
hit this button right here and be part of the be part of the crew here.
It's called Hit That Button.
Hit that button on YouTube. And we do a show.
You can follow us, and it's like we'll have every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And you know, we'll say that there'll be a lot of bowling content coming from me
next couple weeks. Yeah.
Ohio. And Chris, I'm going to see you before Charlotte, because you and I are going to Pennsylvania for
I just realized the other day it's Father's Day, so I'm thinking I might go
I know.
the day before.
It's Father's Day for me.
I'm going to see if I can switch my tickets for the day before, because I have a funny feeling I might be doing something with my dad that day. But we'll figure it out. We'll get we'll do something. We'll get there. I have to see what their schedules are, because my father might be out of town or whatever.
Well, we're waiting for someone to join us. So.
Yes. Well, we're trying to get this thing that our friend from Lockdown White Sox sent us, and I'm trying to get his little clip to download, and so we can get him to I guess he sent us a video message here. So let me see if I can pull it up here. Oh, here it is. Let me get this in here. So what's your take on college basketball this year? It was a lot of
let's see. I thought that Arizona was going to win. I thought Arizona was going to win it all. That was my pick. Congratulations. And I did pick, and on the women's side, I did I will say that I did pick South Carolina to win, but congratulations to head coach Corey Kloss and everyone out there in Los Angeles for winning the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Congratulations to Dusty May and our good friend Brian Bosch, who we had on last week. Preview the Final Four. He is the voice of the Michigan Wolverines. So congratulations, Brian. First title since 1989.
Oh wow! For Michigan, I thought they won one years before.
No, it was 89. So it's like
it was against Seton Hall, right?
Yes, right, Chris. Yes,
So here is Todd Welter. I think I'm saying right. From Lockdown White Sox podcast. He couldn't join us tonight, but he did leave us a little video message. So here it is.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I can't join you. Something came up last minute and I have to rush out, so I'm not going to be able to make a live hit. Hopefully this works. In terms of what the Orioles and the White Sox series, the Orioles just own the White Sox. The White Sox, I think, have lost 13 of the last 14 games against the Orioles. The Orioles swept the season series last year, and they are just absolutely owning the White Sox in terms of when it comes to pitching. The White Sox just cannot score with runners in scoring position. The Blue Jays have been very effective at limiting damage when the White Sox have opportunities. And the issue for the White Sox is their bullpen strategy. Manager Will Venable likes to deploy, his best pitchers in the most high leverage situations when they present themselves. So as you saw, like today, they had Sean Newcomb pitching early on, and then they had nobody left as the game went on. So then you got Chris Murphy, not as talented as say Sean Newcomb, and he gets tattooed by Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson looks absolutely amazing right now for the Baltimore Orioles. And it's just one of those things where the White Sox are kind of where the Orioles were in the middle part of their rebuild. They're hoping to add their Adley Rutschman in drafting UCLA shortstop Rock Chilwalski. So hopefully this fills you in, and hopefully I get you guys on the next time that the White Sox in Baltimore plays when the Sox visit Baltimore.
That's nice.
Yeah. Thank you for that update there, Todd. Let's talk about when is the next time the Orioles and White Sox play each other? Let's see here. White Sox. Hold on, I can't type. White Sox. Let's see here. Probably will tell us here. Check it. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull it up here.
Yeah, waiting for someone during this anyway. But
I'll give us a schedule here. Sometime probably in like June or something.
yeah,
But it was really early for them to play anyway, because normally they play the White Sox like in like May or something.
yeah.
So schedule. Here it is. Hold on a second. We're pulling it up here. Let's see here. I know they're playing the Nationals on April 24th. White Sox are. White Sox, Dodgers. That's interesting. Oh, okay. June 29th, 30th, and July 1st in Baltimore. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. So that's the same weekend. That's like the weekend before 4th of July, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's play some of the clips here from today. Here is some of the highlights of the White Sox and Orioles we were going to play. This is Smith striking out Gunnar Henderson on a pitcher's duel, pretty much, and Gunnar Henderson just whiffed right through this. So it was, at the time, it was no score after 2. And then the White Sox got on the board with their 2 runs, getting off an Orioles starter. Looks like, I think Trevor Rogers was still in there.
I think so.
Yeah, Rogers was still in there. Gave up a 2-run single, to score 2 runs. Basically, that was a single. That was a double. 1 run scored. And then here comes the second run, a C9 single. That's what they used to call it when I played.
Yeah.
Yeah, a C9 signal.
Little Texas leaguer there for you.
Yeah, Texas League hit right there. It was 2-0 White Sox, and then he what's his name? With our good buddy Todd was talking about. Gunnar Henderson hit a 2-run homer to tie the game.
Yeah.
And then the Orioles took the lead and won the game 4-2. And I don't know if Rogers got the win today. Let's see here. If Rogers got the win. Let's see here. Trevor Rogers did pitch 6 innings. And he basically, I think he got a no decision because he gave up 2 runs, struck out 6, gave up 2 hits, 6 innings. And then Cano came in for the Orioles, and then Wolfman, and then Nunez, and then Ryan Hensley, who came to the Mets last year from the Cardinals, a dumpster fire. Yeah, so basically he got the save for the Orioles today, and the Orioles break their losing streak. Yeah, get off the schneid.
Yeah. And with going on right now as we speak in the world of college baseball, it's a rivalry night between Florida and Florida State, and I believe I've got an update for you guys right now. At the end of 5, our rivals from Gainesville are leading 4-1. So
speaking of that, our friend Jeff Coleman will join us next Tuesday.
Yes,
because he forgot that he was going to go see Florida State and Florida play baseball today with our good friend Gene Deckenhoff.
Yeah, Gene Deckenhoff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I told him, no big deal. We'll have you on next Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, Florida State this weekend, this weekend Florida State has a huge college baseball showdown as they go to Atlanta to take on head coach James Ramsey and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So
let me get a hold of Drew Forrester, the head coach. Drew, he was on our show.
No, I know Drew. Of course I do.
Last year, he used to do, I don't know if he still does a show on 105.7, but he did do the something with the green, because I remember I was working at Home Depot
Yeah, I remember Drew. Good.
Yeah, so he
good
is
guy.
on the phone. So let me. We gotta play here. We got something wrong here.
I don't think so. Why?
I don't know because I want to get a hold of him on the phone. So. Oh, I know what we could do. We could play our little quick commercial from ChatGPT with that Neil Diamond thing.
Yeah.
So we'll play a little commercial and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, folks.
Every single day, the usual mom stuff.
All right, so you're gonna tell me where we're going now?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I'm telling you till you get
No, I'm telling you. Mom, needs to know.
There's no way I'm telling you.
Okay, that didn't work real well.
Just call him.
Yeah, let's do our. I know what I have. I have some songs stuck in the archive here. All right, let's play. I got some tunes here. We'll play this as a background thing. So hold on.
Go call Drew. Chris.
All right. We finally got him on. This is when you do live TV. You got to do a lot of switching around today. So this is fun. So before we bring him in, let's recap last year's Masters. If you probably didn't remember what happened.
I do.
Yeah, I do, but people don't. So here it is. All right, so Rory McIlroy wins the Masters, the Masters, the golfing Grand Slam, that's what they call it, and now he's defending his title this year. And I know this gentleman is the head golf coach at Calvert High School. Plus, I don't know if he still does it. He does a podcast. Plus, you could probably still hear him on 105.7 here in Baltimore. Drew Forrester joining us. Drew, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know you're on the road somewhere in between Baltimore and wherever you are. So thanks for joining us tonight. Let's talk about the Masters this coming up this week. Roy McIlroy is the defending champ. We know what happened last year. He won it. How hard is it to defend a Masters title?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say there's definitely some component of defending it that is unique to what you accomplished the year before, and I just don't know if he has the energy that's required to not only defend it, but defend it based off how much energy he used last year to win. And, obviously he won the Grand Slam. Even the way he won it, where he kind of, he didn't play the 18th hole very well in regulation. He had to go to a playoff, and then he had to make that little short putt there, that nervy 3-footer to win. But I would say under normal circumstances, a guy defending it isn't supremely challenged. But I do think he's going to be in an awkward position this year, just kind of given how much he had to extend himself a year ago to win. I just don't see him. I think he's still breathing a big sigh of relief from winning a year ago.
Yeah. Let's talk about the other key storylines. We just talked about Roy McIlroy. Scotty Scheffler, he's always a contender, and he's these big majors. So can he win the Masters this year? And he could finish the Grand Slam, right?
Well, no, he would have to win. He still has to win the U.S. Open.
Okay.
So he's won the Masters twice. So his career Grand Slam tournament to win is the Open. Could he win? 100%. He has not had a great year by his standards, but he's had a very good year. He won a tournament earlier in the year. He's been competitive in a couple of others. He hasn't been quite the dominant player that he was the last 3 or 4 years, but it's a very cyclical sport. Could he win? Absolutely. Do I think he's going to be there in the hunt? I do. All of his data, his statistics, all of his shots gained data has been very good all year. He hasn't won. He's come close. He did win once, but he hasn't won the 3 or 4 tournaments prior to the Masters that we're used to seeing from him. But could he win? Absolutely.
Yeah. And you have a question for him?
Yeah, I do. What's your take on the news about Tiger Woods, and do you think we'll ever see him compete on the PGA Tour ever again?
Well, I mean, my take is the same as it is pretty much for everyone involved in golf. Yeah, anytime Tiger's involved in an event, the interest level goes up, the enthusiasm goes up, the interest nationally goes up, even at 50 years old. So I feel like I'm the same as everybody else. It's disappointing that he's not there. I understand why he's not. Can he ever be competitive again on the PGA Tour? Probably not. I would say this though. I think of all of the events that he could potentially play well in and or be competitive in, I do think the Masters is that event. The golf course has definitely changed a lot over the years, but it hasn't changed enough to where it would impact his ability to get the ball in the hole. I just don't know if physically he's capable of walking 72 holes anymore. I think that's still Tiger's biggest question. It's not, can he still play golf? He can definitely still play golf, but does he have the physical capability to walk 72 holes? And then understanding that if he were competitive or near the lead, you're also adding on the duress and the stress of that. So I think like everybody else, I think his best days are behind him, but I do think if he ever got even remotely healthy again, the Masters is the one tournament that he could potentially be competitive in.
Right, and I understand that, and and his son just signed a great deal with Florida State to play golf there too. So he might be spending time with his son at Florida State, and hopefully being like wasn't it Peyton Manning's father, Archie, to sit back in the back and watch.
Well, his son is an outstanding young player. He's is he going to be another Tiger? The odds of that are very, very slim because we haven't had another Tiger since Tiger. But his son is a very, very competent player. I think he'll be a good player in college for sure. I'm quite sure he'll try to be a professional golfer and try to follow in his dad's footsteps. But those are really, really big shoes to fill. And I just hope he's able to enjoy the sport. He doesn't need to really make any money because his dad's got plenty. But it would be kind of cool, just from a historical standpoint. It would be cool to see his son become a professional and get out there and carry that name on.
Yeah, and Drew, I think it's also we see it in sports with a son of a Hall of Famer like Tiger Woods. We do bowling on this end, and Pete Weber, the son of Dick Weber, and you see Cal Ripken and Ryan Ripken. You see all the different types of family people, like Bo Bichette with the Mets. His father was a great Rocky. It's a lot of pressure on these kids trying to say, "Oh, you're going to be just like your father. You're going to be great." And that's a lot of psyche for them. And we saw us growing up, Pete Weber couldn't handle that. He was always Dick Weber's son, and you see the drugs and alcohol and all that stuff, and that happens to people like that because they were being put under pressure of that pedestal, like you're going to be just like your dad.
Right. Those are all good points. I think, in Tiger's case, sort of to go back and look at his childhood, right? He was pretty much, he does have a couple of step siblings, but he was pretty much the only child in his family with his mother, Catilda, and his dad, Earl. His dad did have some other siblings through another marriage, but Tiger grew up in a very, very insulated, isolated family life where golf was really the only thing he ever did. And his dad, kind of proudly would always say, like, I built my son into a champion. And that might very well be true, but that is a lonely life. And in this era, remember, Tiger grew up when there were no cell phones and video games were a thing, but not like they are today. Kids have a lot of distractions today, way more than Tiger had. So it's hard to rein them in and keep them sort of singularly focused. Now, Tiger's son has had, and he's also had every benefit that, I say normal in air quotes, that most normal kids don't have, right? He has the best instruction. He has the best fitness. He can fly anywhere he wants to go play. If there was ever going to be a kid who's been kind of primed to be able to do what his dad did, it might be Tiger's son. But I think it would be a big ask to ask him to be as good as Tiger. That would be very, very ambitious.
Right. And Drew, you wish you had the jet, jet plane you could go anywhere, or a father who gave you the opportunity to do things. You had to work your tail off and become where you are right now. You busted your butt, and you're a head coach at Calvert Hall for golf, and you had a radio, you have a podcast. You did 105.7 here in Baltimore over the years, and on Sunday afternoon. I don't know if you still do it, but you had to work your tail off to become where you are.
Well, yes, I did, for sure. But I would say that in golf particularly, and every sport is like this, so I don't want to single out golf, Tiger's son has worked hard. Don't ever think his kid hasn't worked hard to be very good at golf. Golf is not a light switch. You can't turn it on and turn it off. You have to work hard, and you have to put in a lot of hours. You have to really, really dedicate yourself to it. But it's also fair to say his son has had a lot of advantages in that pursuit that other regular kids, I'll just say, wouldn't necessarily have. He's had the best equipment given to him. He's had the best instruction. He does have advantage. There's no question. But he's also an accomplished player. Right. His son is at Florida State because he's a very good player. He's not there because he's Tiger Woods' kid. Because they don't need what they need are good golfers at Florida State. There's nothing that Tiger's not helping them at all. They already have a big practice facility. They already travel by a plane to all their events. Like Tiger's just there to be Tiger the dad, I think, at this point.
Right. Adam, you have a question for Drew?
Yeah, so we talked about some stars in the United States who could win the Masters. Who are some of the international stars we need to be looking out for, Drew?
Well, I think Matt Fitzpatrick from England is really a guy to watch. I don't know if you guys advocate wagering, but I would say if I were going to make a friendly wager, a lot of my money would be on Matt Fitzpatrick. I think he's an awesome player. He's a terrific ball striker. He's a winner. He just won at Valspar a couple of weeks ago in Tampa. He did win the U.S. Open in 23. He is a big time player. I give you a couple of other names that I don't think you can ever go wrong at the Masters assuming that former champions are going to be in the hunt. Hideki Matsuyama, a Japanese player who won in 21, would be one of those guys. John Rahm, I know his form hasn't been great recently on the LIV Tour. John Rahm would be someone to watch. And I honestly think, and this guy hasn't won in the Masters since, 2013. I think Adam Scott has a very, very good chance. I saw him yesterday when I was there. His golf swing looks great. The golf course has been very good to him in his career. He's played, not only has he won it, but he's played there. He's played very well at Augusta. So I would give you those three guys: Fitzpatrick for sure, Adam Scott, and Hideki Matsuyama. And again, two of those three guys have won before, and you can never go wrong looking at somebody who's won there before.
Yeah. I was looking at the odds. I think Justin Rose is like, plus 3,000. Yeah.
And there's another guy too. I'm glad you mentioned him. I love his chances this week. I'm kind of forgetting that Canada is an international country. I also love Corey Connors. I think Connors and Rose. I'm glad you mentioned Rose. I think both of those guys are definite candidates. I think Corey Connors' golf game is awesome. His flaw is his putting is very hot and cold, but you look at his record. He's got 4 top 10s in the last 6 years. Justin Rose has lost in the playoff there 2 times. Both of those guys are players who can win, Rose and Connors.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, let's talk about your high school team. You guys are 4-1 as of April 2026. You have a match next week against your rival at Hunt Valley Golf Club on April 15th. So how's your team looking right now?
Well, we've had a nice start. I think my players would tell you we haven't played the best we can play for sure, but we've played very, very well in spurts. We are 4-1, and it's a long season. You have to build a little bit towards the end of the year, which we're hoping that we're doing. We went to Charleston. We're in Charleston right now for spring break. We're practicing down here every day. We'll be back on Thursday. The kids will have a couple of days off. Then we'll get back at it on Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday practice, and then we play Loyola Wednesday, which will be a big match for us and a big match for them. We beat them all 3 times last year. And it's Loyola Calvert Hall. I don't have to say anything more than that. But we're off to a good start. We need to play better, and we will. My guys know that. We've been sharp at times, but at other times we need to play better golf, and we will. I'm sure.
Yeah. Did they play a turkey bowl with you guys, or you get like a turkey trophy? Or?
No, there's definitely a Calvert Hall Loyola thing. We don't do the turkey bowl, but there's a little something extra. All the kids know each other from playing competitively over the summer, and I'm a fan of their coach. Joe Ciotti's a good man. Mm-hmm. We always joke around Calvert Hall Loyola. We like each other 364 days of the year. It's that one day on Thanksgiving Day when we're not friendly. But when it comes to golf, they have a very good program, and we've won the championship 2 of the last 3 years. We think we have a great program as well, and that's why we play, right? We tee it up and we see who's got the most points at the end.
Yep, and it's also like you see in other sports, like Florida State, Florida. They don't like each other in football. It's the same thing goes with golf and baseball and softball and swimming and everything else. They still like that team. Yeah, no matter what.
Any Calvert Hall Loyola game, and no matter what sport, always has a little extra. There's no question about that for sure.
Yeah, I used to do the hockey, Calvert Hall hockey, and they played the team from Charles Street, and it was kind of interesting game. There's a lot of chipping going on, a lot of yelling at each other, but afterwards they all shake hands and say, "Have a nice day, thank you." Yeah,
right. It's that's what we teach our kids, right? We teach our players when we're competing, when we're playing against one another. We're trying to win. We're trying to win the right way. Win or lose, we shake hands at the end, and if we win with grace and we lose with humility. So
exactly.
May the better team win next Wednesday. Hopefully it's us.
Exactly. Well, Drew, I know you have a meeting with your kids, but thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a great time down in Charleston. Hopefully the weather's great, and we'll talk to you down the road.
And get some seafood while you're there.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
I say bye. All right, that's Drew Forrester, who does he's the coach for Calvert Hall Golf, and also he does a lot of podcasts on his time, and plus he does used to do a show on 105.7 in Baltimore on Sundays. So if you are a betting person, I think you might want to go with Justin Rose. If you are a betting person. Yeah.
Well,
But I don't say, put all the money on Justin Rose. Don't put all your life savings on it. Just put $1 down. That's all.
$100.
Because if you win, you get $5 back. It's like, yay. Or even more. Who cares?
We're waiting for Rob Knox to join.
Yeah, I got to give him a call, so that's why I had to get off the line. So let me.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of phone things tonight. Yeah, we had a lot of people on the phone here tonight because of they had internet issues or something like that. So let me see if I could find something we could fill in for right now. So, yeah, we already played that. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I have something I could put in for just until I get a hold of Rob here. So, hold on here. I got so much stuff in this archives here.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, let me go call him. Oh, we could do this. We could play. We know this album's coming out March 8th on the not March, May 8th. I'm talking March. Yeah, we
March,
just got. Yeah. I'm trying to get the video load up here. So hold on a second here. This thing's taking a little time here. Hello. Okay, here it is. Neil Diamond has a new album coming up May 8th, so we're going to play that title track of the song, Wild Heart, and I'm going to get a hold of Rob Knox, who is home from Arizona. So hold on.
One side of me is warm and quiet, the other side runs hot and cold. Part of me is plain defiant, loud and rowdy and hard to hold. Thought it was 'cause I was just a man. Now I know it's just the way I am. Wild at heart, ready for a rodeo, heading out for parts unknown. That's the only way I'm gone. Taking on a fight when I don't rightly play a part. And it ain't easy being wild at heart. One side of you is soft and pleasing, other side that won't be touched. Got a side that don't come easy. Get too close, it might get rough. I could tell you were more than the usual girl, more than a pretty dress and fancy curls. Wild at heart, you ready for a rodeo, heading out for parts unknown. That's the only.
All right, that was Adam.
Hi.
All right, that was Neil Diamond with his new song coming up on his new album May 8th, and we'll talk more about that when we get to May 8th. So right now, we had this gentleman on when we were doing the March Madness selection show.
Yeah, we did have Rob.
Yeah, so we followed his journey from all the games he traveled to all the way out to Phoenix for the women's Final Four. Rob Knox, who used to be the communication guy at Towson University and spent time all around the other parts, but now he's doing a lot of writing and traveling. So Rob, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and welcome back on the show. We had you at the beginning of March Madness. Now we have you at the end of March Madness. So talk about your travels. We had you on that Selection Sunday. You were down at Maryland for women's basketball. So just talk about the whole month of March.
Fortunately, I
I can't say fortunately because I was disappointed. I was disappointed that Maryland did not host the first 2 rounds. So because of that, it allowed me to kind of relax at home for most of March because the regionals were nowhere for me to drive to cover in the then obviously the second weekend was in Fort Worth, Texas, and Sacramento, California. So I just waited until the Final Four to Phoenix, and Phoenix was really nice. Obviously going there, you felt that you would get 3 really outstanding, high quality games, and leaving, you got 2 good games, but you got high level performances both times from UCLA. So major props to UCLA for winning a national championship. Obviously, they ended the season on a 31-game winning streak, and proved that they were the best team in the country. And most people knew it, but obviously, when you are on the West Coast, a lot of people still don't necessarily give you the respect that you earn or deserve. But UCLA they were the best team this weekend, and they showed it.
Mm-hmm. Were you there for the national semifinal game between UConn and South Carolina?
I sure was. I heard something happened after the game.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard,
what happened? Because I was watching the game and I was hearing like Gino going off and what's her name from South Carolina? The coach was yelling at him.
Don Staley.
Don Staley. What the heck happened? Did they shook hands?
It's still unclear from my perspective, just because of like where I was when it happened. I was downstairs. I was in the tunnel because by that point South Carolina had pretty much secured the victory, and I was watching the game on the big screen TV that they had in the tunnel as I was going trying to get to the media room and locker room and stuff like that. So, obviously it was reported that somewhere along the line, Gino felt that, Don Staley had a breach of etiquette for the most part from a handshake standpoint pre-game. Obviously, when they first came out, they shook hands. They went down the line and shook hands with the staff. But following the introductions of the starting lineups, they introduced the coaches again, and I think obviously South Carolina was the lowest seed, so Don Staley's name was announced first, and then Gino's name was announced second as the number 1 seed, and apparently. I'm using apparently because I did not specifically see this part, but apparently Gino went to center court, was waiting for Dawn. Because sometimes after the initial handshake for the coaches, for the staffs first come out within the 5 to 10 minute mark of the before the game starts, they shake hands and do everything, and then formally after the introductions, usually sometimes they shake hands. So whatever happened, it didn't happen. Obviously, clearly, by that point, Oyama was annoyed by how the game played out. Obviously, his team didn't play as well as he probably had hoped. They didn't shoot well. South Carolina just methodically took control of the game, played really tight defense. Frustrating their top 2 players. And, there was a foul discrepancy in the third quarter that, annoyed Gino. I'm sure you heard between the interview, the interview at the start of the fourth quarter or end of the third quarter, Gino, he used profanity during the ESPN on-air interview. He ripped into the officiating and, made a reference to Dawn Staley and her program. So I think by that point he was like really annoyed. And then his player, Sarah Strong, ripped her own jersey, but he accused in a moment, he accused South Carolina players of ripping her jersey and nothing being called.
Okay. So
I think it was a combination of factors that just annoyed him to the point where he initiated discussion. So that's that's kind of what happened. I mean, post game honestly was like it was really much ado about nothing. I mean. Right. Of course, Dawn was asked about it, and she said, "You got to ask Gino," and that was the extent of that. Gino in his press conference, it was strange because he alluded to it, but then he didn't allude to it, and he came back to it a few minutes later. Just talking about protocol and doing this for 41 years and been in 25 Final Fours and knows how. So it was just strange. And obviously Saturday, Gino sent out an apology on social media, but the apology didn't mention Dawn's name, which which a lot of people really felt was unfair and not sincere, myself being included.
Okay.
And Dawn was asked about it at the start of her media availability on Saturday, and Dawn just said, we're focused on tomorrow. That's the only thing I'm worried about right now.
Right.
And she said that, it will get addressed after the season or whatever the case may be. She did confirm or deny that Jim tried to reach out to her when asked about it. She said, "Hey, I got a whole bunch of text messages that I haven't gone through yet." So he couldn't have. And the reporters kind of left it alone. But apparently today, South Carolina women's basketball put out a statement that said Dawn spoke to Gino. Everything is, they leave that behind, turning the page and looking, moving forward.
Yeah.
So apparently the loop has been closed, and Dawn's like, hey, let's just move forward.
Yeah. Well, Rob, a lot of people get heated in these games, and things happen.
Of course, yeah.
We see it all the time in football. We see it all the time in baseball. It's just a sign of what you're a competitor, and you forget where you are, and you get angry at somebody. And after a while, you realize that you've gone too far, or you did something stupid. And I think Gino realized after the game was over, he goes, "Man, I know these people really well. Why did I? Maybe I should apologize." And he probably apologized. And like we're in the media, they take things out of context sometimes. It's like, yeah, he probably apologized, and people probably looked at it like, "Oh, he didn't do it the right way," but he probably did. Like you said, with all the text messages, she probably found out. Maybe he, privately called her and said, "Hey, I'm sorry."
Yeah. I think, but I will say this, Chris. I think that the statement that came out Saturday, it definitely it didn't come off as sincere.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people would say, because one, when you apologize, you're supposed to. At least I was learned, a long time ago, that when you apologize, you name the action and you mention the people or person or whoever it was that was impacted by your actions. And, unfortunately that didn't happen. It was like no mention of Dawn. But, again, we could debate the semantics and all that stuff. But yeah, so, I mean, as of now, it's water under the bridge. And it's unfortunate that it happened on that stage and in that arena, and they did overshadow South Carolina's win slightly over UConn, which South Carolina ended UConn's 54-game winning streak. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah, Adam, you have the final question.
Sure. So we know about the history between UConn and Tennessee in that great rivalry. Do you think UConn, South Carolina is the next great rivalry that we'll see in women's college basketball after everything that happened in Phoenix?
Well, I think I think it's a great rivalry now, but I think it's even. I don't think that more moment is because of it. I think it was a rivalry before that happened. Over the last 5-6 years, UConn, South Carolina, every time they've been in some meaningful games. Obviously, South Carolina beat UConn for the championship in 2022. UConn beat South Carolina last year in the national championship game, and South Carolina beat UConn in the Final Four. But I mean, I think we skip over one rivalry that people don't talk about is like obviously with Notre Dame and UConn in the early 2010s. that was pretty heated. Went from UConn, Tennessee to Notre Dame and UConn, and obviously now UConn, South Carolina. So I think it's a great rivalry. I think it's a healthy rivalry. I think it's great for the sport. Because you have elite programs with different philosophies, different playing styles, and it always makes some good basketball. Last year, the regular season, UConn went down to South Carolina and won by like a lot of points, which rarely happens. The year before, South Carolina went up to UConn and won, which again doesn't happen often. So I think it's a rivalry. It's built on respect. Obviously, Gino and Dawn. Regardless of what happened on Friday night, they respect one another. They respect their programs. And obviously both coaches are terrific ambassadors for the sport, and so I think it's a great rivalry now, even if that never happened.
Right, exactly. Well, Rob, we're up against the clock here, but I appreciate you joining us tonight, and I hope you have a good relaxation this week, and get back to and we'll talk to you down the road. And college basketball starts sometime in November. It'll be here quickly.
Exactly. Well, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that's Rob Knox, who does all the college basketball for the women's basketball for the HBCU schools like Howard and Coppin.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, we actually have a guest.
Yes. Yes, we do. I want to let you. I'm going to start with. You could talk to our good friend because I have to go downstairs to take care of something. But let you bring her in.
Yeah. So folks, college football season will be here before you know it. Less than 150 days away. Right now, there are spring games happening, and the NFL draft will be here in 2 weeks, Thursday night. So to talk some college football with yours truly, before Chris gets back, let's bring in the governor of college football, Leverett KT.
What's happening, brother?
Governor, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Hope everything is going well.
Absolutely.
And
Everything's going wonderful.
We got 2 weeks until the NFL draft on Thursday. What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'll actually be there. So I'm looking forward to actually being there in Pittsburgh and enjoying the fan experience. We've been there credentialed before. My guy, who's a part of CFB Nation, Boomer, went up there. But I want the fan experience. I want to talk to fans. I'm going to have my Bills gear on. I know you're a Bills fan as well.
Yes,
so
I am.
I'll be vlogging the entire time. But I'm just looking for the madness, the trades, the smoke screens that teams have been setting the entire time. See what that looks like. Are the Raiders 100% sold on Mendoza? We saw that they gave Kirk Cousins some money. So I'm interested to see that. I'm just interested to see the madness. Dallas Cowboys have 2 picks in the first round. Interested to see what they do. So I'm just, and then of course what our Bills do. We address, I think, some of our issues at wide receiver. Now I'm interested to see. Okay, now we're moving to the 3-4. We don't have that true zero technique. Are we going to get a D tackle with that? What is it, 27 or 28th pick?
Yeah,
I'm ready for the madness. I'm ready for the chaos.
Yeah, as am I. And we know about there's one name that I want to see get drafted, and then that's Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker from Texas Tech. He won the Nagurski Award. Everyone's comparing him to being Matt Milano 2.0. So do you think he would be a good fit in Western New York for the Buffalo Bills if he is available?
Yes, I think he'll be an outstanding fit because if you look at the 3-3-5, it looks a lot like the 3-4, if we're being honest. Like, especially the way that, Romello Height, who's getting a lot of love right now, the way he plays that defensive end / edge position / linebacker position there. Jacob Rodriguez, I think, will be a great fit for the 3-4. Jim Leonard's now the Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator. I think he will be an outstanding fit in Buffalo now that we have addressed, and gotten DJ Moore. He'll be our wide receiver 1. You pair that with the double tight end sets that we run, along with Khalil Shakir. I love it.
And, another name that's out there that could be headed to the New York Jets, as everyone is talking about, is Ty Simpson from Alabama. The New York Jets have been looking for a star. So, do you think that Ty Simpson will get drafted by the New York Jets? And if not, where do you think he goes?
If he doesn't go to the Jets, and it just depends on how in love the Jets are with R.L. Reese. You know, R.L. Reese tested extremely well. I think that's their guy. So if he doesn't go there, then I'm looking at teams with, like the Rams. They have a guy in Matthew Stafford. Yes, MVP type year this past season, but how long will he be playing with their organization? I'm looking at them. Pittsburgh is another team, really quarterback needy team. Does he land there? It's interesting because with the NFL, it's like nobody tells the truth until the draft. Like that's the moment we find out. So the Jets, I think, need a quarterback immediately. But then part of me believes that they really think they can win with Geno, which is a little bit weird to me. Yeah. So my gut is telling me that he'll end up with Pittsburgh. That's what my gut tells me.
No, well, okay. Chris, welcome back.
Yes, sorry, I had to take care of something.
You go.
I have to do a lot of things around here. I got a full house here sometimes. I got to run.
Yes, you do, Chris.
But I haven't lost weight running up and down the stairs. I'm like, I don't understand why.
Yeah, that's true. So, Chris, you got a question for the governor?
Yeah, let's look at coming up this year with college football. I know a lot of people are talking about the big game, one of those big games coming up in November. Everybody's thinking Miami and Notre Dame is going to be a battle of undefeated teams. Mm-hmm. This year, because what happened last year with Miami making to the college football playoff and Notre Dame being a baby, started whining, because they're like, oh, we should have gone there, and then they didn't go to a bowl game because they didn't want to play in it, and now the whole college football playoff is now they're guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff.
Yes,
to me that's like, okay, what happened to Florida State a couple years ago?
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, we get derailed from the college football playoff, and we were talking about we were going to not play in the Orange Bowl, and I know on the bylaws, because we had one of our friends on from Miami, there's a bylaw in the college football playoff that you have to be in a bowl game the year before to be considered in the college football playoff. So why is Notre Dame getting a special treatment? Because what? Because they had a stink about it? And then they go and schedule BYU. Look, let me get this straight. You don't want to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl because it's BYU. Mm-hmm. You want to not have your kids have extra 15 days of practice because of something we don't know why. Mm-hmm. You have your AD complaining to the ACC commissioner. We know
Jim Phillips.
Jim Phillips, who basically doesn't have any say in your stuff because you're not a full member of the ACC, except for all your other sports, except for football. And he thinks that Jim Phillips is supposed to, go, hey, we want Notre Dame in the college football playoff. No, he's going to go for Florida to people who are in his conference. Mm-hmm. And I want to give Jim credit when we see him at the ACC kickoff this year. Like, good job, bud.
Right.
He did something. He did something better this year, not a couple years ago. Florida State people still don't like you, but
Yeah. he didn't fight for Florida State that year.
No.
He should have.
Right. So
that wouldn't have happened to Greg Sankey. I tell you that.
Yeah. So what's your take on this game that everybody's talking about in November? And and we know about November games in South Bend because I've been there once. Mm-hmm. The weather could be warm, or it could be a snowstorm.
You'd be crazy. Yeah. Well, I think everybody's hoping all the stars align. I think this is Notre Dame, one of their easier schedules. They don't have to face USC this year. You're looking at C.J. Carr, outstanding quarterback. You can see it with him. They have lost a lot of production at running back, but they still got Jaden Greathouse on the outside. They still got Jordan Faison on the outside. I think Chris Ash and company will get that defense aligned on the defensive side of the ball. Then you just look at the stars from Miami. You got, Darian Menzel transferred over for Duke, phenomenal season this last year, and Durham. And then Cooper Barcade says, you know what? Hey, I want to leave Durham and go to the 305 as well. Then you pair that with Malachi Tony. So everything just lines up. And then think about the history of this game. We're talking about Catholics versus convicts. That game was 40 exact years ago, was it? The original Catholics versus convicts?
That's right.
So I just think that's why we're talking about it. It's the history. We want this thing to continue on as a great tradition. I just think that's just what we're getting with this game.
Well, and also we got to bring up about Notre Dame not playing USC. These are rivalry games that you need need to
Yeah.
play. And you're going to tell USC we're not playing you because you ruined our opportunity to the college football playoff. So and then Florida State looked at them and said, "We're not playing you, Notre Dame." It's like so Notre Dame. What do you want to do, bud? Do you want to start stuff, and because you think you still haven't won a national title since Lou Holtz, God rest his soul, he passed away, and I had a chance to see him once in person in Baltimore. It was really cool. He had he was there for a lacrosse convention. They invited him to a lacrosse convention. And I'm like, okay. So he had great stories to talk about his teams and all that stuff. And Lou Holtz, gave him a title. They're still trying to find somebody to replace Lou Holtz.
Mm-hmm.
And they tried everybody from Cunningham to Bob Davies to Freeman, and even some jerk named
Charlie Weiss.
Even some jerk named Brian Kelly, who's right.
Yeah.
And I call him a jerk because
he is a jerk, Chris.
He during the COVID, this is a true story. During COVID, they played Alabama, and everything was on Zoom back in the COVID days.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him a question about the wide receiver for Alabama who won the Heisman, and he started giving me crap. My girlfriend was in the other room going, "That guy was rude to you. Who was that?" I go, "That was Brian Kelly." She goes, "That guy's an idiot. I don't like him."
we seen him do it at the beginning of this year.
We
did.
So
I just love it when Florida State beat him pretty handily down in Orlando, and he started running his mouth saying that we're going to destroy Florida State, and Florida State just took him out. And
again,
and he did it on his radio show, and he starts blaming and like, I didn't say anything, and people are passing out clips of him yapping. I was like, come on, dude.
Something up with Brian Kelly.
Yeah. I had another chance to talk to Coach Keeler up in Temple last week. And he's a good friend of ours. I knew him since the days at Delaware, and he's such a great guy. What do you think about Temple? I think they got the right coach there in Philadelphia because he knows that area really, really well. He knows the Philadelphia, Newark, Delaware, Maryland area, and he could recruit people to come like he did at Delaware.
Yeah, they call that the Great Del Marver. Yes, KC Keeler, we went to American Media Days last year because it was right next to ACC Media Days last year. And we had about a 30-minute conversation live with Casey Keeler, and he talked about one of his favorite seasons is when Sam Houston made that jump up from the FCS to the FBS, and how they were like either 0-8 or 1-8. And his wife was like, "You seem like you're okay." He said, "Because these guys, every practice are giving all that they have. Like, we're having great practices. Yes, we're not getting the results on the field." So I'm a huge believer in Casey Keeler and what he'll do up there in Temple. Like, there were some games last year that Temple had the opportunity to win. Like, when Georgia Tech was red hot, I know the end score doesn't look like it was the closest. I was at that game, by the way, at Bobby Dodd. But the game was closer than the score indicated. Oklahoma, but you think about it with Navy. They could have beat Navy. They were about 40 seconds away from beating Navy. And then Horvath went on a 50-yard scramble on 4th and 1 and won the game. The miracle in Philadelphia.
And they almost lost. They lost to Army by 2. So like he was telling me, like he had chances to win. And I like the guy since the days I met him in Delaware. I was intimidated by him the first time I met him.
Really?
Because I was like a young reporter, started doing this whole media stuff, and he reminded me of like this badass type of coach and he's a good friend of ours, so I could say this stuff, and when I saw him at Delaware winning, and then he went off to Sam Houston State, I was so proud of him winning it because he was such a great. And then when I saw, and the true story, and Adam saw this too, I saw his Twitter page from Temple said he's back, and I'm like, huh? and I'm looking at the photograph,
that's true,
and they made it look like he was some kind of like general coming off a plane. And I'm looking at it going, wait a minute, that's Coach Keeler. What the heck is he doing? Right. So and the cool thing about Richard at Temple, he knows me real well. So he's like, yeah, you can talk to Coach anytime you want. And I asked him in the interview, we're going to play the rest of it next week, about his dance moves, because I asked him, like, you got to work on your dance moves, dude. He's like, yeah, I know. Because it was terrible. I was like, yeah. I was like, I saw a video of you like trying to dance. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? I don't have any jive doing that anyway.
I do have one more question, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking, I'm going to talk about the ACC real quick here. After what happened, with Miami losing in the national championship game last season. Do you think right now it's Miami versus the rest of the ACC and however, going ahead to this upcoming season?
I think it is because I think they got better. Like, to me, the eye test tells me that Darian Mensah is a better quarterback back than Beck. I mean, that's what the eye test tell me. And to get a great compliment in Cooper Barkate to Malachi Tony, who's going to stretch the field, and Cooper Barkate is going to work that intermediate area. To me, yes, it is them, but you know how the ACC is. Every year somebody comes from nowhere. Like Georgia Tech last year, they came out of nowhere. What's Jeff Brom going to do this year? Lincoln Kineholtz, a guy that I thought really had an opportunity to start for Ohio State last year. They did go with Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin did complete damn near 80% of his passes. So it'll be interesting to see who's the team that kind of rise from nowhere. Is Florida State back this year?
We would like to help. We would like to hope so after what we with the last 2 years. I mean, it's like, I don't know, but I want to say I look forward to seeing you in Charlotte at the ACC kickoff in July. Last year was really cool.
Hopefully we have 2 conferences like we did last year because we did the
American.
We came over we saw you over there too.
Yeah. We were live on Radio Row at the American.
Yes, you were. I was like, hey, I know you.
The American was my favorite one out of the cycle. We did Big 12, ACC, and American. Big 12 was extremely fun as well. They had the mascots and the cheerleaders there. Yeah. I'm trying to do 6 this year. I want to do Pac-12 this year. It's near and dear to my heart. ACC, American, and a few others.
It's called. It's called. If I'm the commissioner of the American,
if he's watching,
Charlotte, Tempernetti.
Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm hoping Tempernetti has it in Charlotte this year.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
but it may be in Frisco.
Yeah, it'd be easy on us.
It would be. We could just walk right over.
Yes.
So anyway, we're going to be letting you go, but thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of your spring, and we'll try to catch up.
Enjoy the NFL draft.
Yes, I will be there. You guys will see the vlogs. I'll be live there talking to the fans.
I can't wait.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
That's it. Bye. All right, that's the go.
I always like everyone. Chris, can I bring in our next guest?
Yes, we're gonna go from funniness to a serious topic because
as we all know, our good friend, Coach Chris Kollmeyer, was at UMBC, and now he's the head coach at Mercer. And strange things are happening up there now, and
a lot of things going on, Adam. So you want to bring
so let's bring in Maren Angus-Coombs, who covers softball for Sports Illustrated. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And what's going on with the recruiting softball team? Because when Chris told me, I was like,
I read your story.
Dude, I was like,
I read your story yesterday. I was doing some research for tonight's show, and I got to say something to the UMBC athletic department. Are you dumb? Because I heard somebody that had a track record of doing bad things to women.
You're not the only one that has that question.
Like, I was reading, and folks, I'm being serious here because this is just it mind-boggling me because I was reading this to my girlfriend yesterday. We know Coach. We had Coach Kollmeyer on. He went to Mercer, great friend of our show, loves LSU football, and he sent me a message on Twitter the other day. He goes, "What the hell's going up in UMBC?" And I'm like, so I started reading it, and what if people don't know, there's a husband and wife duo, the Richard Nicholsons, Angie and Rick, were just into 18 games of UMB softball, and they got fired. They got, and I was reading it first. Truthfully, Karen, I read it first in the Sun paper, thinking like, okay, they got fired for touching them in the wrong. They're trying to swat a fly away. I'm thinking like, okay, yes, that's the for dudes we could do anything and slap somebody with a fly, but but with the girl you have to be really respectful of their area. And I'm wondering, okay, so improper touch because he's swatting a fly, and I said there must be something else in this whole situation, because I was reading the rest of it, like her husband's like off the wall. I think he just went AWOL or something like that, because he threatened a player saying we're going to cut you during the game, and then and Adam, it gets better. They've been doing this for years. Yeah,
I like how you say it gets better. I don't think it gets better.
It doesn't get better, but I'm being serious here. But it gets really frightening that this university, UMBC, a small college in Baltimore, and we know them really well. They're good people.
Mm-hmm.
They should have done some background checks on these people, because the story you wrote that they had problems at Norfolk State, Hampton University, East Illinois. I was telling my friend Matt about it, and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." It was like it's mind-boggling. So when you got this opportunity to write this story, what was your first impression? Going, is Baltimore crazy?
Well, to be honest, I thought UMBC was crazy to hire them to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Kohlmeier, I mean, he took this program to a ridiculous height, right? And you had an All-American and Courtney Coppersmith, and you've got the 4 NCAA tournament appearances, and it just felt like they made an easy choice, not necessarily the right choice. And to have this story come about, I obviously did not break the story. The Baltimore Sun did, and I just ran with their lead.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because when I wrote the news story that they had been fired, my inbox on social media just started filling up with players who had played for them at all of these different universities.
Wow.
Wanting to tell their story. So for me, I was like, absolutely, let's set up a time to talk. And it appeared to me after putting out the first story with the girls from Georgia State, I had more work to do. And once that story came out, it was just nonstop, more. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to do another one. The most interesting part I will say is that I did not get any sort of DM or anything from anyone who supported the Nicholsons until after the second story came out, where I got one. So I want to make sure that I at least acknowledge that I did get one person who had a good experience playing for them.
Right.
But that was one of 30.
Yeah, well, like I said, I read your story. Like they had a young lady in Hampton University who they were going to rip her scholarship money away because of her freshman grades, and she's a sophomore. And Adam, she wanted to transfer, and these people who were the coach, Angie and Rick, looked at him and said, "We're not going to help you."
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's like okay. What is this whole with your because I thought like you said, you did research and then your inbox started blowing up, and and to me, I started reading this the other day going, there's like red flags since the days they first started in a university. That should have been already number one in UNBC, because it's understandable if they had a great record as a coach, because we saw Bobby Knight do this stuff over the years and other coaches, But in this day and age, it's not going to happen like that anymore. And to me, it's like UMBC should have said, like, well, wait a minute, something popped up in East Illinois or Hampton University or something, because I know this whole softball community. They talk to people about it. And they know. And Chris and Coach Kohlmeier, we know him real well. He sent me a message on Twitter last week. He goes, "Dude, do you see what's going on in Baltimore, dude?" You know, and we had him on our show plenty of times when he was the coach at UMBC. He's a great guy. He worked his tail off to get that program back. And we were the fact that he went to Mercer, and I asked him off the record as a friend, is that the reason why you left UMBC? And he goes, yes.
Yeah.
So there's something going on there that is not a coach. Coaches didn't help themselves.
No.
Yeah. There's something going on in that athletic department.
Yeah. I think what we've learned over the last couple of years is that UMBC doesn't have all of the resources for softball that would make it consistently competitive and make a coaching staff happy. And by that, it's more of there's just not enough money in the softball program. I know I've had many conversation back in the day when Coleman was there, and he could only afford to pay one full-time assistant. So that makes things difficult. If you can only have one full-time assistant and then your other assistants are part-time or volunteer, you're not gonna be able to have the proper people in place to help you with the program, which is why I think maybe the Nicholsons came about, because they're a married couple. And maybe it was that she could make her full-time salary as a head coach. Maybe he's the full-time assistant and their family's taken care of. Whoever else comes in to help is the part-time help.
It's crazy. And like I said, UMBC it's a nice college, a small college here in Maryland, because you got Towson down the street off the Beltway, you got Coppin, you got Morgan, you got the University of Maryland down in College Park, the big school that everybody knows. And and I feel like all these schools in this area are fighting for people to come to their universities.
Yeah.
Like we see Towson, we cover Towson baseball, and Coach Kiner is a great man. He knows he used to play baseball at the University of Miami and used to be in the Orioles farm system. And I feel like every year he struggles because I don't think he gets the resources that he needs.
No.
And right now they're 15-14 or whatever it is. It's pretty good, but not doing well in the CAA baseball. And we see the same thing with Pat Scarry, Towson. People, I try to tell people around here, we do the show here every week. We could get Towson people on our show because nobody wants to talk to them. Yeah, like Pat Scarry is available anytime I need him. Coach Tyner, even Coach Schimrick, the guy from the football coach.
Yeah,
and I'm outside. I live outside of Towson, Maryland. It's like the suburbs where you are. You're from LA. You're from LA, so I'll just use Riverside. Is like a suburb. And nobody wants to call these people. They in this state they just want to listen to Maryland football, Terps basketball, Orioles, Ravens.
Yeah,
and nobody else. And that's sad.
It's hard. Unfortunately, that's also the way of college athletics too, with the mid-major fight for attention. And with softball specifically, we spend a lot of time talking about the Giants, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama. We don't spend a lot of time talking about these mid-majors when the news is at the mid-major level this year.
I'll give an example. Grand Canyon.
Absolutely.
They were undefeated.
Yeah.
And no one talked.
It's crazy.
They play in the Mountain West Conference. They came over from the WAC. And it was like I looked at the top 25 for ESPN.com. I was like, where's Grand Canyon? I was I see obviously Texas as the defending national champs, and it's like Grand Canyon was undefeated, and Grand Canyon has been. You look at the NCAA softball tournament, you always see Grand Canyon. The champions of the WAC, and obviously, normally when it comes to them, they always have to go play against UCLA, and you know this, Maren, since you cover college softball. UCLA is one of the giants of the sport. You look at their history. You look at their coach right now, and Kelly Roy Perez, and it's like, I mean, it's always nice to see like Grand Canyon make it. I mean, you look at some of these smaller conferences that only get like one team in, like from the Ohio Valley, or you look like UMBC from the America East.
Right.
And they should get, attention, just like the Texas of the world. I mean, you look at Texas right now, they're have a shot to probably bring home another national title. You look at what Audrey Canada is doing at Texas Tech. You look at Alabama. You look at Florida. Look at Florida State with Isa Torres. I mean, she's setting records down there in Tallahassee, and the way Florida State's been playing,
absolutely
bring home a national championship, to Tallahassee. But this like me. When it comes to college softball, last few years before Austin, Texas, where did it run through? It ran through Norman, Oklahoma. Kendall Wells is having a sensational freshman season at Oklahoma. And Coach Patty Gasso, what a job she's doing. And I could see Oklahoma winning another natty, but, I mean, I always enjoy college softball. I watched plenty of it, and I know we're in the second half of the season, and it's like it's almost time for the road to OKC to get rocketed and rolling, and I can't. And
it's wild. We're down to the last 4 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, and then we got conference action. I mean, the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten. It's like a fun to watch, but thanks for joining us tonight, and
keep up the good work. Good job.
It's called. We'll have you back on. Come conference tournament time.
That sounds great. It was nice meeting you both.
Yeah, have a great rest of your week. Thank you for coming on.
You too.
Thanks, Maren.
All right, see you again. Bye. That was a very interesting interview, folks. We had to go a little serious there because
Maren Angus-Coombs, who covers softball for Sports Illustrated. But Chris, I think it's time to switch gears to college
baseball.
And
today we had a battle between Baltimore and Battle of Baltimore, but it was down in Anne Arundel County.
Yes.
Towson took on Coppin, and we have our good friend Coach Sherman Reed joining us right now before the end of the show. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Good. Good to be on with you guys, man. I wish I had some good news.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Yeah. So tough game today against Towson. So recap. I guess you guys are trying to find that you're not getting that timely hit. That's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had a lot of opportunities in several games this year to either break a game open that we have the lead, or get right back in the game and take command. And we tend to have good hitters, but you put them in a situation where a hit means a run or two, they tend to revert back away from the approach hitting Coach Schaefer has in store for them. And we got to feel the ball better, because today is a perfect example. You got a 4-3 game in the fifth inning, and as soon as we go to the bullpen, we still haven't found that long reliever that could come in and give us quality innings to get us to the end of the game, in which we can bring our closer in, Justin Ritz. So we're still trying to figure things out. I heard you guys talking about softball, and we are winding down the baseball season as well. We're in the second half now. I think Sunday's game marked the first game in the second half for us. So we're still trying to figure things out, but time's running out on us this season.
Yeah, we were watching you. We had you on before you tripped to Oklahoma, and I know
I don't want to talk about it. And
that was a tough.
I know you don't want to talk about it.
That was tough for you guys. What did you learn from that game? Those games? I was like, when I was watching the games, I was like, oh my God, Yeah, I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Like, what did you learn from those games?
It's funny because even when you look at Oklahoma, they're in the top. I think they're as high as 14th in the USA Today coaches poll. So we knew they were going to be a really good team. And when we took the trip to Oklahoma, it was really our first time out in a week and a half due to the weather we've had here.
Yeah.
But even still, we played pretty well. And I think it was game 3. We really kind of got our feet under us. And I thought we played pretty well against a quality team like Oklahoma. But it's really designed to get the guys on a high level, high exposed stage while we're still in the very beginning trying to figure out specific roles that the guys are going to fall into.
Yeah. Is there any bright spots in this season that you really enjoy? Because I know not winning a lot of games. There's still like any bright spots? Like you're like, there's some people you're like amazed that are doing well.
Yeah, I would say some of the young guys, like with the advent of the transfer portal and the 5 and 6 year time frame in which guys are still playing college baseball. I think that a lot of Division I is getting away from the traditional true freshman coming out of high school. But I tell you what, we've got a really good freshman. A case can be made. He's been the MVP of the team so far, and that is first baseman Angel Garcia, who's really one of our top 2-3 catchers. But because we're so deep in catching, we put him at first base, and the kid has been tough to move away from first base, hitting well over 300. Not often you have a true freshman batting in the cleanup position in the 4 spot for a Division I lineup and handling himself really well. So I think that was has been the biggest plus for us to have a talented young guy like Angel Garcia. And then a guy that's recently come on over the last weekend, last 3, 4, 5 games is second baseman Treadwell Jordan, who's been moved up to the number 2 position in the lineup. And all that kid has done is just play great second base and swing a really good bat from the left side.
Right. Adam, you have a question for him?
I do. Looking ahead to this weekend, you guys are at home taking on a real good Central Connecticut State University Blue Devils team. So what do you see in them, that you guys have to improve on compared to what you saw today versus Towson?
I mean, Central Connecticut State is one of the premier teams in the Northeast Conference. In 10 seasons, let's say the past 10 seasons, I would be shocked if they haven't won the conference 6 or 7 of those last 10 years. So they're perennial, really good, well-coached team by Coach Charlie Hickey. And again, they don't beat themselves. And you can't beat yourself against a team like that. You start giving them extra outs, they tend to always make you pay. So Central Connecticut State, I know Coach is having a little bit of a down year himself from the traditional good start that Central Connecticut State has. But, we've always played them tough. Even our first year in conference play, when they ran through the conference, as our top team, Coppin's always played them really, really tough and have competed really well against a good program like that. But they're coming into Baltimore. We really haven't been playing as well as we'd like to at home at Joe Cannon Stadium. But Central Connecticut State know when they come up against Coppin that it's not gonna be a walkthrough game for them. So we're looking forward to the next 2 weekends actually being able to be at home with these next 6 conference games, because the last 2 weeks has been pretty tough at Lemoyne College and then this past weekend down at Norfolk.
Yeah. Talk about North Central Connecticut State. You were just talking about them. They're coming in this weekend. Hopefully the weather's great, especially in the 70s. So if anybody wants to see free baseball, go down to Joe Cannon Stadium. It's a very good place to watch the game. So I guess you could try to get better against these guys over the weekend.
Yeah, again, both these teams have really not found their stride yet, which is that's unique for Central Connecticut State. And like I said, we've just got to feel the ball. We must feel the ball better. This has probably been one of the more challenging years for us to field the baseball, particularly in the infield.
Yeah.
And with, as tough as it is to win a game at the Division I level, when you're giving a team additional outs, it even compounds the difficulty of winning at this level. But we're looking forward to good weather, as you mentioned, Chris. Good weather. We'll be home for really the next 2 weekend conference games. So we're hoping we can right the ship, because, as I mentioned, time's running out on us.
Yeah. Well, we hope you guys get better, and we love to have you on before a conference tournament. I know you probably have to play a couple games in there, but I appreciate you joining us tonight, and good luck this weekend, and hopefully you can get a start a winning streak, and maybe we can help you bring you some good luck. Maybe that.
Appreciate that. We need it.
You got it, Coach. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. You guys have a good
as
one.
always.
We'll talk again soon.
All right. Talk to you later. Have a good
Thanks,
one.
Coach.
Bye.
You too. Bye now.
All right. That's Coach.
I always enjoy it. I always enjoy.
Yeah, we enjoy having him on.
Yeah,
I feel sorry for him. I feel bad for they only won 5 games. It's like well, and that's a good example we just had a couple minutes ago with the softball.
Yeah.
You have so many colleges in the state, you can't get the good talent to come there because a lot of kids don't want to.
When it comes to like Maryland colleges, it's called everyone wants to go to the University of Maryland in College Park
or out of state. Because they don't want to be
in. It's have all these kids to stay home, and it's like people for you have all these other smaller colleges in University of Maryland, and it's like they get the remainders, and it's like it would
right. I agree.
I feel sorry for them.
Yeah. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. We'll see you guys next Tuesday night, and we have a special guest on our show next Tuesday night. Our good friend Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen.
Yeah.
Love Jeff.
Yeah, we'll talk Florida State spring football because they're not playing a spring game.
They're not playing, which sucks.
Yeah. So we're going to see what's going on with Mike, if he has any access to Mike, and see what's going on with him.
Yeah.
We want to know about his little shiner, on his eyeball.
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to have I would love to have a winning season this upcoming season, Chris. I mean, we've had 2 losing seasons.
Yeah, 2-10 and 5-7. Yeah.
I know. It's like.
Yeah, maybe we could.
I would
dip.
I would love if we could beat our rivals again in the same season, both Miami and Florida.
Off week 0 against Oklahoma, New Mexico State.
New Mexico State week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got I think you got SMU on Labor Day weekend, and then
that's right. Yeah.
And then you got Alabama week 3, so that's going to be another challenge. So
I think you got Central Arkansas in there.
Yeah, in there somewhere. So, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's good. I can.
We'll dive into that during the summer and spring, and we'll see what that goes on. And we're counting the days of our trip.
We're counting the days until we go to Charlotte for these.
Yes. How many days is Adam?
No, not enough.
Not enough. Yes.
I will say, after being there for now, this will be my 4th year there.
Mm-hmm. I've been doing this since 2012.
Yeah, so it's like for me personally, it's like homecoming. It's like
I enjoy being down there. It's like we get a chance to meet everybody, and
it's like I get a chance to see everyone. Our good friends from ESPN and the ACC network, and it's like we can.
Yeah, and I think we do a good way of not killing ourselves like we did a couple years ago.
Yeah, and it's like, you know,
now we're gonna just take our
it's
time.
like we can go check in with all the coaches and players, and I will say that one of the, you know, since we're talking about the NFL draft happening in 2 weeks, Thursday.
Yeah, we'll check in with our good
One
friend
of the cool,
Mark.
I will say, one of the coolest players that I have ever talked to is Francis Maligo from Miami. He was always really nice to me. You know, when I asked him questions, you know, just to go up to him, shake his hand. It's like, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I interviewed him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
It's like,
yeah. Well, we're going to log off here, but we appreciate you joining us tonight, and we leave you with the band we've been talking about. The soundtrack came out on this day in 1978, and we love Neil Diamond, so we're going to play a clip from that album, Dry Your Eyes. We'll see you all next Tuesday night, 7:30, and thank you for joining us. I hope you all had a great Easter, and we'll see you soon. Okay, so be well with yourself, and take care of everybody you know, and be happy. And Adam, you have a couple more days until you head on.
15 days, and then I go.
Yes.
Fly away too.
Yes. All right, folks. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye now.
Yeah.
Dry your eyes, take your song out when it's a newborn afternoon. And if you can't recall the singer, can you still recall the tune? Dry your eyes and play it slowly, just like you're marching off to war. Sing it like you always wanted, like you sung it once before.